Well, hello everyone. It's another Friday, so you know what that means. Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If you're new to the show and to the channel, first of all, welcome. The way this works, super simple. You're going to see a chat there with a bunch of other lawn care nuts and crazies and people that are super passionate about their lawns talking back and forth. Drop your question down in there, and I will work through them in the order they come in the chat. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I don't. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Guys, it's been an interesting week. It's the weather's finally starting to turn for the better. We had days in the 70s today, and yeah, I'm really happy with where things are going. Work's been insane, as you can imagine, but the temperatures are also kind of catching up as well. So really happy about that. I'll show you guys some videos of some stuff I've been doing in the lawn in case you guys are interested. So let's see who's in the live stream tonight. First of all, we have Tony Valdez has top honors of being first man here. Welcome, Tony. Hopefully you are doing well. Mitchell Parsons saying, how's everyone doing tonight? Doing pretty good. And Mitchell, like I said, it's been a pretty busy week. I got out there yesterday evening and knocked down the front lawn. So the final scalp on the front lawn is done. And the back lawn, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to wait a little bit longer to do it. But yep, overall doing fairly well. And then Mr. David Lee, Jamaican, saying blessings. What's going on, man? Hopefully you're doing well. And Frank saying, hey, Ron, looking forward to your show. Yeah, man, it's been good. It's been, like I said, it's been a crazy week with work. So this is like my decompression, like my way to just kind of hang out and, you know, take my mind off a lot of things having to do with work, which is fun. So I'm glad that you guys decided to take some time out of your Friday evening to come hang out and talk about turf grass. Jamie Haas is in the house and Fairway Bermuda. He says, what's up, Ron? And everyone in the chat, hey, Ron, I see you warming up in Georgia. Here in Mississippi is 30 degrees. I don't understand how there's that much of a temperature swing. I mean, again, I guess it's the weather bands, obviously, but I mean, Mississippi is not that much further north than where I am in Northeast Georgia, so I wouldn't think there'd be that much of a difference, like a 40 degrees difference, but so be it. Like I said, today was in the 70s, and as far as some cool things for you guys to check out, like I said, I went out and did a scalp of the front lawn the other day. If you guys have been following my YouTube stories, you guys saw that it's greening up. It's not greening up. I mean, there's green all throughout, starting to come through. So I went and gave the front lawn its final scalp of the season, so it's good to go. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let me show you guys a video of that, how the front lawn looks now, while I go down and get my first super chat from Mr. Rob Schott. So as you can see, took it down a little bit more using this was with the True Cut, and it's coming up pretty good, guys. I'm pretty excited. You can see there along the sidewalk at the bottom how there's already some green coming through, and there's more over by the shrub that you guys really can't see. So the front lawn's starting to green up nicely. Back lawn also as well. Our first super chat of the evening is Mr. Rob Schott.
Received.
This is pair character lifting some weights, saying keep it up. And Rob, you are the show sponsor. You got the first super chat, so you are the show sponsor. Let me get you up here, and done. There you go. Your name and lights, right? Pretty awesome. All right, so let's see what else we have as far as questions. So No Name is here. He says, happy Friday. It's getting to be that time here in Georgia. It is. Guys, here's the thing. If you have not done your pre-emergent as yet, or you're not planning to do it here within the next week, this weekend will be great because we're supposed to get a bunch of rain on Sunday. But if you've not done it this weekend, like, you're behind the curve. You want to get it down. Here, pre-emergent needs to go down before the weeds come out, before they emerge, before soil temps are consistently 55 degrees or higher. And we are like in that neighborhood. You know, we're in that neighborhood because here's what happens. I'm going to play doctor here for a while. You know, prevention is better than cure. Like, it's much cheaper to buy, you know, $50, $60 bag of pre-emergent, if that's the way you decide to go, or buy like a water dispersible granular prodiamine. It's much less expensive to do that than to go and buy the stuff you need after the weeds have become a problem to try and get rid of them. So just my public service announcement to you guys. Of course, shameless plug, we do carry pre-emergent at the golf course lawn store. So you see I've got it pinned to the top of the chat there. So feel free to go there, browse, check it out. I made a couple of updates. So yeah, check out the store. Let me know what you guys think. All right, next up, No Name says, I'm starting to see some green around the edges of the lawn. Yeah, that's pretty common. So anywhere where there is heat, so like your sidewalk or patio or driveway, like the concrete holds on to heat better. So that's going to be where you're going to start seeing the lawn green up faster. So a good example, like the back lawn, right? As big as it is, I can actually show you guys. The back lawn is fairly large. You can see back there, you can't really see, but near the rock area, there's some grass starting to green up. But as you see, as we come closer to the house, you see how green is starting to pop through there. You see that? The green is coming through. And this is with it being taken down from that fairly aggressive scalp. You see the green is coming through there. Main reason being is that part of that area gets a lot of sunlight. You guys can't really tell, but there's a house to like on the other side of that fence that actually, as the sun is going down, blocks a portion of the lawn. But that little band there that you see that's green, that's like a little corridor where the sun can shine through and hit that area of the lawn. So that, coupled with it being closer to the house, is why it's greening up. The same thing is on the front lawn. On the right side, that area is greener than anywhere else in the lawn. So it's just temperatures are going in the right spot. And that's good, man. It means we're going to be out here mowing soon, right? So all you guys that were complaining about not getting to mow, now you're going to start to complain about having to mow too often. All right, next up we have Warcry in the house. It's a good one. He says, opinion on using a cylinder/rotary mower for commercial use on a lawn care company. I had a conversation with a gentleman today saying for Pensacola, Florida, it would not be good for us on Stadium Field. So yes, so there are a couple of services around here that do have true cuts on the and there as part of their lawn care service. They cut a lawn. So like if you were looking at Alex's house, there's a lawn that's like you guys don't know direction wise. There's a lawn that's across the street diagonally from him, and they cut that with a true cut. They cut the front anyway with a true cut. As far as using it, the thing I just say I'd be very careful of is make sure you're charging enough, because people that tend to want their lawns real mowed, they don't necessarily always take really good care of their lawns. So like on my lawn, when I go out there, I will make sure there's no twigs, there's no rocks, there's nothing for the reel or bed knife to hit. You can't always know that's going to be the case for a lawn that you're cutting. If you're real mowing it, I imagine at least once a week. You don't really have control over what gets put on that lawn or what's going to be there when you get there. So I'd make sure I charge enough to ensure that, as far as maintenance, wear and tear on your unit, that's accounted for. But yeah, I think it can work. The thing is, once you set the price for real mowing a lawn, that's gonna weed a lot of people out, because only people that are very, very passionate about their lawn looking that nice are gonna pay it. And with them, you can kind of train your customer to say, hey, listen, this is a price, and it's really based on, there not being any trash in the lawn. There's not, don't have like, don't leave like things in there that could damage my equipment. Because if you do that, then we can work on pricing and make it a little bit easier. But if you don't do that, where I have to go out and do like a pre-flight check before I mow, then things are going to be more expensive. So it can work. It's just kind of a niche. It's kind of a niche service. So if I would say that to offer that along with most of your zero turn mowing, like your rotary mowing, as an additional upsell or additional service, I think that makes sense. If you are only a lawn care service, only doing real mowing, that's going to be challenging. I think that's going to be a hard sell. So unless you are working on like really high end neighborhoods where people really appreciate it, it's going to be tough having enough clientele, I think, for that. So, and again, it's going to be expensive. But yeah, I think it can work. I don't know what being in Florida difference it would make. It's really based on the grass type and again on the customer. That this is the right customer, that you are the right fit for what you're trying to do. Hopefully that helps. It's a good question. I do know of services around here that do that, but again, it's in addition to their rotary mowing service. All right, next up we got Mr. Faz Bear in the house. We got the questions about top dressing and aeration coming in here. He says, hey Ron, I aerated my lawn. I'm gonna level with sand and topsoil mix. Good, I like it. He says, should I apply pre-emergent before or after leveling? Soil temps getting to 50 degrees here in Southern California. Thanks, King Ron. I don't know about King Ron, but I'll read the rest of your question. Okay, so as far as when you're going to top dress the lawn and aerate the lawn, that tends to be after the lawn is greened up, at least from the aeration standpoint. And then top dressing, really, you can do it earlier, but really you want to do it when the lawn is when the grass is actively growing, so it recovers from it faster, and your lawn doesn't look like a sand lot for any longer than it needs to be. So you pre-emergent. The short answer to your question is I would still do pre-emergent, even though you're planning to aerate the lawn, a month and a half, 6 weeks from now, as part of your top dressing project. I would still put pre-emergent down, because you really want to do a lot for keeping weeds out of your lawn. Now, if you put pre-emergent down and then you aerate your lawn, is it going to negatively affect the pre-emergent? Yes. Have I ever seen to where I aerate my lawn and now I see a mass weed outbreak all over the place? No. And I've done it every year, like literally every year in the spring, other than last year, my lawn has gotten pre-emergent, and every year for the last 5 years or so, 5, 6 years. I mean, you can look at my older content. I've aerated in my lawn, and I don't have a big issue with weeds being all over the place. So pre-emergent is something you want to take care of this time of year. And then again, top dressing and aeration, you're a good 6 to 8 weeks out from now, depending on, again, how temps are in your part of the country. So you're in Southern California, so it's probably going to warm up. But I would get your pre-emergent down now, and then worry about the aeration and top dressing when the time is correct for it, because it's, again, like kind of was just saying, it's way, way, way cheaper to prevent weeds than it is to fix them. I mean, if you come out here, let's go for a ride. If you come over here to the golf course lawn store and look at the weed killer section, so if you look at pre-emergents, right? So you've got pre-emergent sold out. So like $69.99, $57.99. Again, pre-emergent $23.99, right? A big tub if you want a lot of it. You know, this is $89.99, but that's a larger a tub that's going to treat like 40. No, I'm wrong. It's going to treat just around 2 acres on warm season grass, right? But these are all well under $100. When you get into stuff like taking care of weeds in warm season turf after they've come around, so like something like Celsius, which is an excellent product, you're already at $140, and you need more stuff than that. Like, you also need to use a surfactant with it. That's another $10, $15. You need marker dye. I mean, that's kind of an expensive $5, $10, but it starts to get expensive really quickly. And Celsius does not kill everything, right? It kills a lot of stuff, but it doesn't kill everything. So if you got like sedges in your lawn, then you're going to want to make some Certainty with it. Certainty is a great product, but it's like $110, $112 for it. So it's way cheaper to prevent them, even if you get reduced results after your aeration, than to do nothing at all. So I would absolutely put pre-emergent down in your lawn, and then aerate, and then just deal with the small amount of weeds that you get, if you get any, when you decide to do your aeration and top dressing. The thing is, too, to keep in mind, Fabser, is your mowing practices has a lot to do with how much weeds you have to deal with as well. So if you're doing your pre-emergent and you're also mowing regularly, like, you're going to get a really thick, a dense stand of grass, and that does a lot for keeping weeds away. So it's not just the chemicals, it's also just your cultural practices, how well you're doing, keeping up with your mowing and everything else, that's going to keep weeds out of your lawn. So long answer to what should have been a short answer to a question, but I want to make sure you understand the why behind it. On the note of top dressing mix, I want to remind you guys that this weekend is the last weekend to save 30% off of the Soil Cube leveling mix, or the Super Sod leveling mix. If you are in Alabama, South Carolina, the great state of Georgia, you are able to save, again, $30 off of a bag of the level mix. Again, it's literally the best stuff that I've used for top dressing. So I want to tell you guys about that tonight. February 28th is when it ends. So I will put that in the chat now for anyone that's in this area, to be able to let you guys know that, yeah, don't, if you're planning on top dressing, take advantage of that, because they don't offer those kind of discounts very often. So there you go. Hopefully that helps, Mr. Fabser. Definitely put down your pre-emergent. Definitely do your pre-emergent. VMH is in the house. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Happy Friday, VMH. Hopefully you are doing well, sir. You know, it'd be interesting. You got to let me know well, it's too early for crabgrass, but I don't know if you've done your pre-emergent yet, but it'll be interesting to see, with all the work you did last fall, and if you get your pre-emergent down, which I'm pretty sure you did, you didn't tell me, but I'm assuming you did that, how your crabgrass pressure is going to be this year. I think it's going to be a lot less, but it'll be interesting to see how all your hard work, like the second half of last year and this spring, works out as far as helping your lawn to do better. All right, guys, so we are only a few minutes in, but let's get those likes up, man. We're only at, what are we at? Only at 33 likes, 84 people in the live stream. Certainly you guys can reach over and touch that like button ever so gently. I know I'm being greedy by asking early, but, you know, earlier is better, kind of like pre-emergent. Early likes are better than late likes. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd really, really appreciate it. All right, next up, we have Lavendi in the house. He says, all the lawn places around here use Spectacle Flow. Is this a post or pre-emergent? Do you have any experience with it? Very expensive. Yeah, so Spectacle Flow is primarily a pre-emergent. It's a very, very, very good pre-emergent. What is the active ingredient? It starts with an I. So imazaquin is image. It's indaziflam, I believe, is what's in Spectacle. So it's a really good, it's a very, very, it's like a Cadillac pre-emergent. So the kind of stuff I was showing you on the store that I carry, that's not, I mean, that's more, I'd say it's more budget friendly for someone that's actually trying to do this themselves. Spectacle Flow, I want to say it's north of $200 for the small container of it, but it's an excellent product. So as far as controlling POA, it's really, really good. As far and is also the residual for how long it lasts compared to say something like dithiopyr or prodiamine, it surpasses them. So I think from reading the label, something like up to 10 months of coverage with it. So it's a really good product. I imagine that's why a lot of lawn care services like to use it, because they don't want to have to do, if you have a person that's not like the people that are on the live stream, right? So you guys are, we're in the inner circle where you're always taking care of your lawn, you're mowing, you're doing all this stuff outside of chemicals to keep the weeds away. For a lawn care service, it makes a lot of sense for them to use a product like Spectacle, even though it's more expensive, because they're not going to get callbacks. They're not going to get called out there saying, hey, you sprayed my lawn, I've got like weeds all over the place. Because it's excellent. It's a really, really good product. Coastal, in trials and testing, has done very well. It's very comparable. Now, it doesn't last as long as Spectacle Flow, but it's as far as being able to control POA, especially in warm season grass, it's a really, really good product. And the bad thing about that, I've heard in the rumor mill that they're discontinuing it, or they're discontinuing it in the small container. So if you want to get it now. I mean, it's not going to go bad. So, load up on it. So you're good to go on it. If you're good to go for, on that particular product, unless you need like a big, 2.5 gallon jug of it. But yeah, Spectacle is a great product. The reason why it costs as much as it does is because frankly, it's worth it, right? It works well, and it works for a long time, and it takes care of a lot of weeds. And because of that, you're going to pay for it. So yeah, but for home lawns, most people, like residential lawns, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to use. I have a buddy of mine that has a lawn care service. So if I decide I want to use Spectacle Flow in the fall, I can just pay him for a service, have him come out, and he'll put it down on my lawn, because it's just expensive. It's expensive for a non-professional to have that product, because you need very, very little of it, and it's expensive. So, but Coastal, which is, I'll put this in here for you, Lavendi, as a good alternative, like a more reasonable alternative to Spectacle from a standpoint of coverage, is a great product. And again, in the 64-ounce container, I believe that's being discontinued. So definitely load up on that if you are so inclined. But yeah, definitely worth it for lawn care service. Great question. All right, Heartfelt Fashion is up next. Is my buddy Ron. My buddy Heartfelt, hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're having a good Friday. Says, I am overseeding an area this year, and I know I can't put down pre-emergent. Can I put down post-emergent now? Will it hurt my seeding in the spring? Yeah, so post-emergent is fine. So to kill actively growing weeds, like a post-emergent, so something, you didn't say what kind of weeds you're dealing with, but if you're going to spray something like Celsius or Image or Certainty, something like that, yeah, that's fine. I would give it a week or so in between, like spraying any weeds and then seeding, even though it really has it's not supposed to really have any kind of a negative effect. But just give it a little bit of time. But yeah, doing that, post-emergents are fine. I would not do pre-emergents. And again, you can do pre-emergent, but you're just not going to get very good germination. So it's kind of a waste of money to go through. If your main goal for the year is to seed your lawn or to fix an area of your lawn, then simply don't put pre-emergent on that area. Get like a tarp or something and just shield that area while you're using your broadcast spreader. If you're spraying, just temporarily, don't leave it there. Don't leave it covered for a long period of time, but to shield that area that you want to grow grass seeds. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I would get rid of the weeds now if you want to. Here's the thing you have to keep in mind. Some weeds like POA looks ugly in Bermuda because when Bermuda's dormant, that like nice golden brown. Some people like to say it's dirt brown, but I think it's like a golden brown. I like to think of it that way. It looks bad in it because like literally the only green thing in a Bermuda lawn for the most part around here is going to be POA. There's a few other weeds, but POA is the big problem. And yes, it looks ugly, but if you just wait until temps get hot, it will die off. It will go away. But again, it's so easy to prevent with pre-emergent that you might as well. So there you go. Hopefully that helps, Heartfelt. Next up, we have Jason Stitter says, yes, a new video. Yes, man, it's a new live stream every week, whenever I can. We're doing this. And on the topic of new videos, there's going to be a video tomorrow. It's going to come out tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. You guys are the first to know about it. It's going to be on the topic of verticutting. And guys, I did my best. It's kind of a dry topic, and I did my best to make it as entertaining and as interesting to watch as I can. You guys will have to let me know whether I failed or not. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., check it out. I try to make it funny. You know, my humor is like dad humor, so I guess dads will get it. But yeah, check it out. See what you guys think. That's going out tomorrow morning. So should be a fun one. Should be a fun one. Next up is Lois. She says, "Greetings, Ron. I have my pen and pad handy, ready to learn. Just watch, or you can just watch the replay. You can always go back." I used to do. Here's the thing, guys. I used to do all the chapters, but as you started getting longer and longer, it was taking me an hour, hour and a half to go through the live stream and say, okay, and this one I'm talking about this, and this one I'm talking about this, and this. You know, it takes a lot. It's a lot of work to do that. So just watch it over and over again. I'm still toying with the idea of taking little snippets that are good and cutting those out and doing shorts with them or something, but haven't decided yet. You just let me know if you guys think that would be a good idea, if you guys would watch them. All right, next up, Jamie Haas says, "A professional in the industry told me I should only use liquid fertilizer on real cut Bermuda because granular can't fall to the soil and you risk burn. Any truth to this?" Yes and no. So the professional is right in the sense that if you are real mowing Bermuda and it gets nice and dense, really thick, if you're using a larger prill fertilizer, you are going to run into some issues with it getting past the canopy, some issues with it getting past the canopy and getting down into the soil. Depending on the nitrogen content, yes, it could sit on the leaf or sit on the on the grass leaf, and it could cause some burning. So there is some truth to that. It really depends on how dense your canopy is. And again, something like Humic Max or any other small prill fertilizers, that's a big part of why I like this fert so much. If you look at the prill size, see how tiny that is? And again, I don't have anything as a reference to kind of show you, but it's small. I mean, like there's my finger and there's the prill size. So it's very, very small. This will get past the grass, past the canopy down into the grass very easily. So they are correct that if you're going to like the Home Depot and buying like, the big bowling ball prill size fertilizer, then yes, I would not use that on well-maintained real cut turf because it's just not ideal. A lot of it's just going to be sitting on top of the grass instead of actually getting down to the soil where it can work. That is an advantage of liquids, is that there's not, literally it's absorbed via the leaf, it's absorbed by the foliar. So there is a lot of benefit to that. So yeah, so there is truth to it. It's not that you can't use a granular on real cut Bermuda, but you should use the correct type. So again, if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, you guys already saw the prill, but on the Golf Course Lawn Store, right here, front and center, is Lebanon Turf Country Club Humic Max. Again, in addition to being like a very small prill fertilizer, it also has 8.9% humic acid in it. So it's a really, really good product. I have yet to hear, I might get it this season. I might start the season, someone might email me and tell me, the fertilizer was not good. But I have yet to get any complaints about this fertilizer. It's a really, really good product. And hopefully we're still going to be able to continue carrying it. Really a big fan of Humic Max. Great, excellent product. So something like that would be fine. Liquids would also be fine too. So it just depends on what your preference is. All right, next up we have R. Colson. He says, "Happy Friday, y'all. What's going on, R. Colson? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream." And then Thin Cut is up next. It says, "Always look forward to the live stream. Good evening, everyone. Don't forget to touch the like button." I appreciate that, sir. They are working on it. They are going to touch that like button ever so gently. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I would really, really appreciate it. And next up, we have Dean Dong. It says, "Hey, Ron, if summer weed seeds start germinating when soil temperatures reach 50 to 55 degrees, wouldn't they die if there was a hard freeze?" Yeah. So that's a good point. So if you got, temperatures like consistently in the mid 50s, and then you had some freak of nature where you had a hard freeze for a period of time, it can't be like a day or two. If it's for like a week, 10 days, then yeah, you would lose some of the weeds that began germinating, kind of like with Bermuda, right? Like in December here in Georgia, probably across the entire Southeast United States, we had a snap there where it was really warm, like unseasonably warm for December. Like there's some days into December that was in the 70s, and my lawn actually started greening up. There were certain parts of the lawn where even out like near the rocks and everything, where we're starting to green up. But then as soon as we got colder temperatures, it went dormant again. So it's the same thing. If we got a hard freeze for a period of time, yes, that would kill the weeds. Kind of like how POA and other cool season weeds, when we get into late spring, when it gets hotter, and summer temps when it gets really hot, like those weeds die off because they are cool season weeds. They can't tolerate the hot temperatures. They die off. Same type of thing. So yes, a hard freeze would cause them to die, but it's not just like one day of it. It takes a couple of days. Kind of like for weeds to germinate, it's an average soil temp of 55 degrees for a period of time, and that's when they're going to start becoming a problem, assuming you don't have your pre-emergent down. So it's a good question. Good question. All right, next up we have Heartfelt Fashion says, I have a green layer of grass under the brown of my Bermuda. Should I scalp now? I would. You can do what you want, but I would, and mainly because it's scalping. If done right, scalping is a lot of work, right? So and depending on how much material you're taking off, it's a lot of work. So with a real mower, literally you are making, with my True Cut, it's like 2.5 passes, and I'm emptying it out. So it takes a lot of time. So pass down, pass back, halfway up, and then take it out, walk over there, empty it out, and oh crap, some half of the grass fell out of the bag, so I got to put it back up. So it's a labor intensive effort, and I prefer to do it when temperatures are a little bit cooler. The negative to doing it now is that the lawn will look a bit uglier for longer versus if you waited to do it, say, in mid-March, because literally if the grass is already greening up and then you scalp it, because you had the temps to really drive growth, it's going to recover from that faster and it's going to look better faster. I don't particularly care because it's brown anyway, it's Bermuda, and I don't want to be out there in mid-March when it's crazy hot scalping. So it's up to you. It's not a must do. You're not creating some cardinal sin by not scalping your lawn now. You're not creating a cardinal sin by not scalping your lawn ever, really. You don't necessarily have to do it. But if it were me, I would. Yeah, I would. Now, not putting pre-emergent down, that is a major violation. That is committing a cardinal sin by not getting your pre-emergent down. But scalping right now, it's really personal preference. I prefer earlier than later. Okay, next up, Lavendi says, last question, Ron. I just had my yard core aerated, a little bit early for that, unless you're like in Florida or something. It says, I guess pre-emergent is a no-go so I don't stunt the roots. No. I mean, if you aerated like an existing lawn, so yeah, you still put your pre-emergent down. You still can. I mean, it's more so if you are seeding a lawn or you're putting in brand new sod, like smacking it with pre-emergent is not the best idea. Bermuda would probably tolerate it, but others not so much. But as far as you aerating and then you want to put pre-emergent down afterwards, yeah, no, that's for most people that is the better way to do it. Like if we could put down pre-emergent, or if core aerating the lawn made sense to do now, you would do that first and then you would put down your pre-emergent. That is what you do. But yeah, I guess you just did your aeration super early, and yeah, I would absolutely still do pre-emergent. All right, so we got a super chat. Let me run down here and grab it from Josh. All right, Josh, thank you so much for that.
Super chat.
Good evening, Ron. Love the Friday chats. Thank you. I appreciate you for coming to hang out, sir. Can I put down Country Club 1608 tonight, then water in the morning? It should not burn the lawn, right? Depends where in the country you are, Josh. Unless you're like in southern Florida somewhere, like I don't know, below what is the thing in Florida? Is it I-4? Whatever the road that runs across through Orlando. If you're like there or south of that, then yes. But if you are in Georgia, it's too early. It's too early, at least in my opinion. I mean, really, the time to really start feeding the lawn with fertilizer, putting down like in this case, even humic max, like 16% nitrogen, you want the lawn to be greening up. You want there to be more green than not green before you start introducing nitrogen. If you had like a pure potassium fertilizer and you want to do something like that, maybe, but not. You don't really need to be feeding the lawn or fertilizing it with that unless it is greening up. To answer your question, if you put it down tonight and then water it in the morning, is going to be all right. Yes, you'll be just fine. Because here's the thing: it's the prill in humic max is so small that it's gonna move right past the foliar, right past the grass leaf and get down. So you shouldn't have any issues with burning or anything like that. And you, sir, for the time being, are the show's sponsor. Thank you for the super chat. So let me get you up here. Boom, there you go. And congrats. I think if you've never used humic max before, you're really gonna like it. It's an excellent product. So Yes. So you should be just fine to put it down now if that works better for your schedule, and then just water in the morning. You got to figure too, Josh, like most lawn care services that put down fertilizer, they put it down, and for people that like pay for that, they don't run their irrigation right afterwards. Sometimes they just wait for it to rain. Sometimes they never run irrigation. So it's again, using something like with a smaller prill, the chance of you burning the lawn is very, very remote. Not saying it's impossible, but very remote. All right. Pat Haw is up here. He says, "What's up, everyone? I just took 1 inch of snow here outside of Chicago. That's not good. That's the opposite of green up, Pat. But fair enough. It should fall off here soon. And I guess for you guys, maybe spring's not till April-ish or so. But yeah, we're not having that in Georgia. And keep your snow up in Chicago. We're trying to have a good time up here, and we don't want any cold weather messing up all the potential fun." Tyler's in the house. Tyler M says, "Howdy, what's going on, Tyler? Hope you're doing well, sir." And Lindrick Butler and Robert Rainey is doing well, as is Adrian Fraser saying, "Happy Friday." What's going on, guys? All right. Paco is up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, what's your favorite thing to spot treat weeds coming up through a dormant lawn?" Depends on the weed. If you're dealing with POA, depends on the weed and depends on a couple things. Depends on the weed, and then let's say we'll use POA as the example because that's like the most common lawn pest around here in Georgia. And your choices now: do you want to take the slow route, which is a little less expensive, or the fast route, which is going to be more expensive? The slow route is to use something like imazaquin or simazine. Those are root absorbs. You need to put those down and water them in. They will kill the weed, or something will kill POA, but it's going to take a bit longer. It's going to be a slower process. Or you can go with something like Certainty or Negate, a product called Negate, that is going to do a much faster job of getting rid of it, but it's also more expensive. And in the case of Negate, I really don't recommend that one so much for home lawns, because if you are mixing it per the label, there's people that will take a teaspoon out and just mix it. But if you're following the label and mixing it per the instructions, you need to mix the entire contents at once. And for home lawns, it doesn't make sense unless you've got like an acre, right? And most people don't have acre lawns. So unless you got like a really, really large lawn where you're going to be using it all up, something like Certainty would be something you could use for spot spraying a weed like POA or like sedges or things like that. So it just depends. Alternatively, you can just wait. A lot of the cool season weeds that are in your lawn now when it's dormant are going to go away once the temperatures get warmer. So it's your call whether or not the additional expense is worth it to kind of pursue that now. One thing I would do, Paco, is, if I had a choice right now of spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to kill off the cool season weeds that are really going to be gone, frankly, here in another 6 to 8 weeks, I would ensure that I got pre-emergent down now. So let's try and make things better going forward. It's going to cost you less money, and again, the winter weeds are a temporary problem, whereas crabgrass and spurge and the sedges, that'll be the new problem if you haven't put pre-emergent down. So something to keep in mind. Again, you can get those at the Golf Course Lawn Store right here, and it's pinned to the top of the chat. And that is what I would recommend. But the most correct answer to your question is it depends. Depends on the weed and depends on which method you want to take. All of them are going to be more expensive because you're talking about post-emergence. So hopefully that helps. Daniel B is in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone." What's going on, Daniel? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. And then next we have Brick Rehab saying, "Just finished pouring a concrete patio last weekend." That's got to be a workout. He says, "Number 1, is 4 inches too much to fill in with topsoil? And number 2, should I wait until the grass wakes up to lay new lawn?" So is 4 inches too much to fill in with topsoil? No, not necessarily. What I would do, Brick Rehab, is I would put it down, put the topsoil down, then pack it down, like, kind of like step on it. Kind of like what you saw in that process in that video that I did on how to fill ruts in your lawn, the one that I did last year. I'll put that in the chat here for you in a second. If you follow that, where you put the soil down, compress it a bit, put some more down, I could build it up that way. It should do well. Here's the thing you're going to realize is once it rains and you get some settling, you'll probably have to go back and add a bit more. So it's not going to be a one and done type thing. So yes, that's this question to answer one. Like I had a buddy of mine that lives in the neighborhood that had a really nasty rut in his vanity strip from like a moving truck that backed in there, like drove over it and cut like a very nasty rut. He filled it all at once, and it grew in nicely. The grass is not going to grow until temps get warmer, but you can absolutely do that now. And next question is, should I wait till the grass wakes up to lay a new lawn? Depends on what grass type you're talking about. If you're talking about Bermuda and you live in Georgia, you can do it practically year round. Like my lawn was put down in December, with the sawdust put down literally in the middle of winter, and it grew in just fine. Because here in Georgia, we don't have winters like the guys in Chicago do, where it gets cold and it's cold for like months, and there's snow on the ground, and that's just the way it's going to be for months on end. We get like sporadic cold, where you have a week of temps in the 30s, and then it'll go into the 50s, and and it's not an extended period of time where the weather is at a temp that would endanger Bermuda from rooting and being able to grow well. So if you are in Georgia, and I'm answering that question as if you are in Georgia, then yes, you can absolutely lay down sod now. And yeah, hopefully that helps. I think I got both questions. The first one on the ruts, yes, if you wish to go for that, go for it now. Make sure you pack it down. And then second, if you want to lay some sod, you can do that as well. And if you're in Georgia, do it now. I mean, we're on a warming trend, so there's no reason to wait. Thank you for the question. It's a good one. It's a good one. Travis Winston says, happy Friday, everyone. It's almost go time. It is go time. What are you talking about, man? Travis, it's go time, man. It's been go time. It's been go time. And then next up, we say our question is from, I scroll too fast. So Brick Rehouse says, turn for the better. We just had 2 days of frozen ice in Texas. Oh, wow. Well, yeah, there you go. But even, I'm not sure where in Texas you are, but even in Texas, unless you're in like way up north, you should be on a warming trend where, it's going to start, the temps are going to start moving more towards warm than cold now. So it's, I don't know where you are, but it's, in Georgia, if you were my neighbor, I'd tell you to go ahead and put the Bermuda down now. I would lay it now. I would not wait. Okay, Dwayne Hopkins is up next. He says, hey Ron, happy Friday. Driving home from Las Vegas to SoCal and listening to the live stream in the car. I appreciate you, sir. Appreciate the support. I'm glad I'm like your wingman, your car buddy on the way home. Says, can't wait for spring and to get my mow on. It'll be here before you know it. Yeah, just fear not. It will be here soon, man. Okay, next up, Jason is back. He says, what's the shortest height you would go on the pre-scalp? Depends on you. Depends on how much material you want to take out at once. Depends on how close you are to spring, like to getting green up. Like now, I would, if you've not scalped your lawn, you can go, like pre-scalp is like early February type things, right? Like now we are like next week, it's going to be March. So you can take it down to whatever height you're planning to run the lawn at this season. At this point, I was talking to the guys at Real Rollers. Shout out to Lee and Andrew and Hayes and Eric. And those guys did their scalping this past weekend. So this past like 6 days ago. So they did their scalp then. So, and those guys are serious about real mowing, about, lawnmowers and whatnot. So they got theirs done. So yeah, at this point, Jason, unless you are substantially north of Georgia, then I would just do your main. You can still do a pre-scalp if you want, just kind of break it up a bit, but there's nothing holding you back from knocking it down. Like again, on my front lawn, yesterday evening, it's a little bit dark out. I went out and I did this. So I finished up doing the scalp on the front lawn because I could, and you can see like the lawn's already starting to green up there near the sidewalk. I got it done. So the front lawn's done. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to go down any lower on the back lawn, but the front is done. Good stuff. All right, Edward Bonet is up here. He says, hey, Ron, in what order do you mow? Okay, what order do you mow? Do you mow, dethatch, aerate, seed? When should you do these, spring, fall, or both? Okay, there's a lot in that question. I'm going to answer it as if you are in Georgia. Let's say you're my neighbor in Georgia. So you say, okay, as far as seeds, so let's say you're going to do a lawn renovation, right? So you're going to burn down your existing lawn. You hate it. Or you're starting a brand new lawn from scratch. So seeding is in the cards. Would you mow, aerate, and then seed? So as far as mowing, yes, that's something you're doing all the time. As far as dethatching, I don't know that I would dethatch so much if your goal is to seed the lawn, like you're gonna establish a new lawn from seed. I would lean more towards verticutting. So in the video you guys are gonna see tomorrow morning where I'm verticutting, that device is actually a slit seeder. They call it a slit seeder, but really it's just a verticutter with a seeder on the front of it. And if you're going that route, if you're going to just be establishing a lawn from seed, I would lean towards using that than dethatching, because literally you're going to get much better germination. The seed's going to get placed down. The seed to soil contact is going to be really, really good. And that is the way I would go. As far as aerating, sure. If you want to aerate as well. So if you want to, like, mowing, that's a given. You're always going to be doing that. I would substitute dethatch with slit seed or verticut. And then if you want to do aerating, then you're good to go. So if we're gonna break it down in an order that actually makes logical sense, mowing, always doing that. I would aerate and then verticut and seed, because you could do both those things at the same time. Those processes, that's a 2-in-1 process, if that makes sense. So as far as when you should do it, if you are in Georgia, the time to seed a lawn where you're going to get it to grow in as quickly as possible is when soil temps, again, if you're using something like Arden 15, is when soil temps are 65 degrees or higher. So that really sounds a lot like early May, June timeframe, but like May is the window when that normally happens. Again, assuming that temps are like how they normally have been in years past. In the fall, I would not seed a lawn I would not seed a warm season lawn. If you're trying to establish a warm season lawn from seed, I would not do it in the fall. There's just not enough time in the season if you do it in the fall. Again, assuming that the temps are even where they need to be for the lawn, for the new grass to really root in nicely and get established before it gets smacked with a lot of cold weather, which is going to stress it. So if you're seeding a warm season lawn, so you're doing a renovation and you're going to seed a warm season lawn, I would do that in the spring. If you're going to do a cool season lawn, I would do it in the fall. You can do cool season in the spring if you want to, but again, it's kind of the same thing. When the summer heat hits, you're going to be dealing with like these brand new grass seedlings that are getting cooked by the summer temperature. So most people that seed cool season turf do so in the fall on residential lawns. So hopefully that helps. All right, we got a super chat here. Let me run down here and grab it from Mr. Cedric G. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate the
super chat received.
Support. It says, Big Ron, super chat received. Question. I know you did a pre-scalp. Will you be doing an additional scalp down to the dirt once temps are consistently warm? What about top dressing this season? So yes, I did a pre-scalp. And I did do additional scalp on the front lawn. You just saw the video that played there. It is, I wouldn't say it's quite down to the dirt, but it's pretty low. It's low. Like the Greensmaster right now would not take anything off of that. So that's pretty short. That is pretty short. And yeah, and as far as will I be doing additional scalp when temps are consistently warm for the back lawn? Maybe. I was toying with the idea of doing it this weekend, but Sunday we're supposed to get a ton of rain, so obviously that's not going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe I'll break that. Maybe in the evenings after work over this next week, I might get out there and take a little bit more off of it. We'll see. I mean, the back lawn is fairly low as it is. It's well below what most people would go for consider a scalp for a lawn that's going to be maintained at 0.62 to 0.75 inches. But I might clean it up again. I might take a little bit more off of it between now and next weekend. The front lawn is done. The back lawn, still trying to decide if I'm going to take more off of it. As far as top dressing, yes, that is going to be a thing. So there you guys see what happens. I told you guys during the winter, I was like, nope, not top dressing the lawn, not done. I'm finished with it. Not going to happen. Forget it. Top dressing, I'm done. I'm hanging up my top dressing hat. And we're probably going to top dress. So we're likely going to do the front lawn for sure. I don't think the back lawn's getting a full top dress. It's going to be just maybe some spot areas there. And I will be helping a buddy of mine top dress his lawn. So at least 2 lawns are going to get top dressed over this season. Alex is probably going to get pulled into the madness too. So like always, it's probably, you know how it is. Once attempts get good and I'll get out there in the lawn and I'll look at it and I'll be like, man, it looks really good. But then I'll think to myself, not good enough. You'll get that if you watch tomorrow morning's video. But yes, that's going to be in the cards, Cedric. Hope I answered all your questions. I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate all the support, and you get to be the show sponsor for, it looks like, a few seconds here until I read Meryl's super chat, which is up next. So Cedric, you are now the show sponsor. Next up, we have Meryl Williams in the house. Thank you, sir.
Super chat received.
Says, happy Friday, Ron and everyone. I am having some early lawn greening success with Carbon Pro G and Essential G. Do you have any other products that I can use to make the lawn pop early? Thanks. Not really. I can tell you I can tell you what I did yesterday evening, actually. If you guys watch my YouTube stories, you guys would know this. But in addition to Carbon Pro G and Essential G, which sounds like you've been doing that, if you want to put down some Biospectrum, Release Zero, and NutriKelp, like those, that suite, nothing with any substantial amount of nitrogen in it, that can work. I actually I'll post the. Actually, I got a picture of it. Do I have a picture I can actually show you? I think I do. I think I do. Yep. So I do have a picture of it. I need to post this on Instagram. I haven't yet, but you can see this is what you can do as far as now, because none of this outside of the 1% nitrogen that's in NutriKelp, we don't really have anything that's going to try and push a ton of growth. But as far as like what I consider to be just a biostimulant stack that will kind of start feeding things, start jump starting the process, something like this again, which is it's going dim, which is your NutriKelp, your NutriKelp Nutrizolve, Release Zero, and then the Biospectrum, which is the microbial package. Like that is something you can do now. Do you have to do it? No. You can absolutely wait till next month, but if you're just trying to be super hardcore and you want to give yourself every advantage, that is something you can do. So those are all in stock on the Golf Course Lawn Store. I will show you, Meryl. We can go for a ride right here. So the most efficient way to do it, unless you have a really big property, is to get the carbon kit. This is where you get all of these discounted. You get a smaller container. So you can see here, like actually take this back to video for a second. You get this Release Zero in this size, NutriKelp, and then Biospectrum in the capsules. If you have a larger property, or you're just going to be doing this a lot, like hey, I'm just going to be using biostimulants a lot, then getting it in the larger sizes makes more sense, right? So going down and getting like your Release Zero in the gallon or 2.5 gallon, depending on how big your property is. The NutriKelp, same thing in a gallon, and then the Biospectrum and Nutrizolve. 901C, this is something I'm going to try out this year. So I was running a lot of Turfplex last year. Let me actually take the Meryl's off there so you can see. I'm going to still continue to use that, but I'm going to lead off with 901C this year. This is essentially Release Zero with fertilizer in it. So it's a liquid fertilizer that has 901C. When I initially thought about the Golf Course Lawn Carbon Kit, I was going to go with this, but I figured that some people may not want to use this as their liquid fert. They may have some other liquid fert they want, which is why Release Zero ended up in the carbon kit instead of this. But this season, I'm going to be running Release Zero along with Nutrizolve this season to just to see how it performs. But don't use that now, Meryl. So again, if you're going to do what I did like yesterday evening, Release Zero is fine. NutriKelp is good, Biospectrum, and then Nutrizolve, which is a micronutrient, is fine. Stay away from Release Zero or Turfplex or anything with a substantial amount of nitrogen in it until the lawn greens up. It's just too early. It's too early to do that to the lawn. But again, you're doing all the right things. You're getting your Essential G down, and again, that if you're trying to be like super hardcore, you're trying to do like what I'm doing, which again is not really. I'm doing it just as a play, just to do some testing. That is something you can do that's not going to negatively impact the lawn. And let me get you up here as the show sponsor of the evening. Thank you so much for the very, very generous super chat, sir. I really appreciate all the support. And if you have any other questions, let me know. All those are in stock and shipping at the Golf Course Lawn. So one more thing, while we're doing that while we're at the store and we're doing a store tour. So last week, you guys know I told you we have a Acelepryn G and Headway G in the store. Someone reached out to me and said, well, what's up with Caravan? Why we can't get a Caravan G? Why can't we have that in case you don't want, a Acelepryn or Headway? Even though you really should be using Acelepryn or Headway, in my opinion. So now if you look at the store, you will now see that Caravan G is there as well. So you have your choice of fungicide and insecticides. You've got Acelepryn, which in my opinion is literally, one of the best insecticides that you can use on residential turf as far as preventing bill bugs, armyworms, grubs, like a whole host of stuff that it takes care of without killing the things we do care about. Headway as an excellent fungicide. And if you just want a combination, you don't want to do those two, then now Caravan G is on the store as well. So you got options for all three. So your choice, you can get it however you want to do it. You take the a la carte approach, or you can do the all-in-one. Hopefully that helps. All right, so now let me put some music on while I go and find where I was. The hardest part. Okay, where did I leave off? Found it, guys. I'm back. All right, so the next question we have here is from Robert Rainey saying, worm castings. Yeah, man, I'm starting to see them too. That's a good sign, right? It's a good sign. So there are worm castings in the front lawn, also in the back lawn. So good sign. Good sign that we are closer. We are close. And then I think I already answered your question, Jason, about the pre-scalp. And Jason Sinner saying, Raleigh, North Carolina was 72 degrees today. That's on the warm side. That's on the warm side, Jason. So that's good. Hopefully, fingers crossed that holds out for you guys, that warm temps hold out, and that you're able to, you get that early spring green up. Though you're a little bit more north than I am, so you never know. You probably have another cold snap in your future. We might have another one, but the 10-day looks like 60s and above. So hopefully that holds out. All right. Travis Winston is here. He says, crazy weather here in Virginia also. Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. Then now, next up is Ogsan. Ogsan says, looking forward to the show tonight. Purchase a toe-behind sprayer and a spreader. Can't wait to use them. That's awesome, Ogsan. Very, very nice. Congrats on that. It is not a mower. However, in this case, we will make an exception. We will clap it up for the new toe-behind sprayer and the spreader. And, what are you planning to use that for? I guess for fertilizer and I guess the sprayer for your liquids. Yeah. So cool. Congrats again on that. Demir is back, guys. So he's in the house. You guys know Devin. He was on the live stream last week. If you guys have not seen that, check it out. As a turf care pro, a golf superintendent out at Flying. It's the Flying Club, the course at Flying Club out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He was very generous with his time last week to come hang out and answer tons of questions. He's a wealth of knowledge. So if you guys didn't see last week's show, go check that out because he was on here and we were like chopping it up and having a great time. So good to see you in the chat, man. Thanks for hanging out as always. And again, if you ever feel like popping in, just randomly for 5 minutes, I can turn on an interview and you can pop in. Just let me know. It can happen. All right. Next up, we have Miles Blaine here. He says, no, that's wrong. It says, can you talk about timing and minimum effective dosage for splitting up prodiamine applications? I put down 0.4 ounces per 1,000 last week, so I can apply a couple more times this year. Yeah, so it's for warm season grass. Yeah, you can do 0.83 on Bermuda for the year. So if you did 0.4 now, you could, or last week, like you're saying, and you want to do another 0.4 when soil temps crest 70 degrees, 65 to 70 degrees, then you can do that. So late spring is when you can do your second split app, and then in the fall just switch to something else. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Like you've already kind of done the math, Miles. So you did like half or just under half your allocation already. And then you can do the other half again, April-ish time frame or whenever temps are a bit warmer, like 65 to 70 degrees is when that window opens for the second your second app, if that's what you want to do. So cool. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Let us know how it works out, sir. Let us know how it works out. Appreciate the question. Okay, next is Eric B. It says, Ron, when can you use a soil adjuster? When can you use a soil adjuster once it stays spring weather? We had 70s in North Carolina, but going cold for a week. I got a soil test, but I don't know exactly what I need yet. Okay. Eric, I'm trying to see if I understand the question. So, okay, if you did a soil test, let's give an example of like a problem, or not an issue, but a challenge that I commonly have in my lawn. Like my lawn tends to trend towards acidic, towards low pH, right? So I have to add lime at least once a year to keep it where in the happy spot where nutrient uptake and everything is best. So if you had that now, let's say you did a soil test in like last month and your pH were low, you can begin to adjust that now. Like if you look at the video, I think a video I did, my last video, I actually did a Lime app based on soil test results that I did a month and a half ago. So you can do that now with Lime if your soil is more alkaline, where you are using a sulfate or something like that. A lot of those, or most of those, tend to have nitrogen in them. Like 21% nitrogen is what a lot of the sulfates do. So for that, I would hold off until the lawn begins to green up. Alternatively, you could use something like a citric acid. Again, if you have high pH and you're trying to bring it down, you could do that now, and there'd be no negative to it. But I am leery of like throwing nitrogen at the lawn when it's still dormant. It tends to cause problems. So if I understand your question correctly, I think I answered it. So again, for adjusting things like pH, those you can do, pretty much anytime the ground is not frozen for the most part. When it comes to correcting NPK, so let's say your soil test results say that your N is low. So a good example, like right now, my N levels on my lawn are low. Can I pull this up quickly? I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe. Let's see here. So I can show you. I can actually show you what I'm talking about. It makes it easier. Like me talking is one thing, but pictures or screenshots are worth 1,000 words, right? Okay. So if you look at my soil test results from the end of last month now, you'll notice that, yeah, you can see that. I'll actually get this off here so you can see it better. You'll notice that my pH is fine, right? It's in the right in the middle, but based on where it was in the fall, it's starting to trend a little bit low. So I did a lot. It's trending down, in other words. So I added a light Lime app. One thing you'll notice as well is my nitrogen is very, very low, right? So even here in the results, you see it's listed as low here, and then also in the graph here, it's also showing as low. That is not something that I would correct now. I would not correct. And I would not correct NP. Potassium, a little less sensitive, but I definitely would not do nitrogen this time of year. So in a case of something like this, using my lawn as an example, like Lime, I'm good to do that now. Nitrogen, you really want to wait until the grass is actively growing before you put that down. So hopefully that helps. It kind of depends on what your soil test results say and what the deficiencies are. But if it's just purely the adjustments, the amendments that target pH, you should be able to do that now. So hopefully that helps. Good questions. I'm sure other people are going to have that. On the topic of soil testing, thank you so much, Eric. The check's in the mail. Keep in mind, guys, that MySoil is running, there's a special right now on MySoil test kits, which are these guys here, the ones that I use and love, that I think are awesome. Put there for, so you guys can see it. If you use the discount code STARTSPRINGRIGHT at checkout, so I know you guys you're not gonna forget. You're probably gonna forget that. So I'll have this in. If you guys are watching this after the show is live, I'll also have it in the description as well. But if you use this code in the at checkout, that will save you 10% on any of the soil test kits in the golf course lawn store. So if you come here, you can actually see here up. So any of these guys. So this one, or with the probe tool, this is a single test kit, and then the Pro Pack, which comes with 2 test kits and the probe. You can save 10% on all the prices you see there through the middle of March. Or don't, if you're going to get a soil test done, which you should, save some money between now and the middle of March and do that. And again, the discount code is in the chat now. Okay, next up we have Tim Jackson said, and San Antonio took a huge hit, not a small hit, but a huge hit. 58-degree temperature change overnight. I was 3/4 of the way green, and it just took a huge hit, hoping for a quick bounce back. Yeah, Tim, I mean, it depends, right? If the temps that you're seeing are only that 58 degrees, yeah, that is cold or cooler for warm season grass. But if it's only for a day or two, I mean, it'll bounce back quickly. It's more so if you get that for a period of time, a week, 10 days, that's when you're going to really start seeing the lawn fall off. But I mean, if it's only for a day or so, you might notice a little bit of difference, but the lawn should recover from that fairly quickly. Should not be a problem too long. Okay, next, Eric is back with another question/comment. He says, I am doing a pre-emergent program. Started February 3rd. Next app is March 10th or 20th. Okay, you apply fertilizer with it right for tall fescue lawn. Okay, so for your cool season grass, your fescue, I'm not sure what kind of pre-emergent you're using, but your grass in this case, like right now, is like go time. Your grass is actively growing. So if you're using a pre-emergent with fertilizer in it, so like a like a 007 or something. Yeah, doing that now makes sense if that's what you want to do. It sounds like you're doing a split app program of some sort. And yeah, it sounds like you got it figured out, Eric. Sounds like you got it going on. Let us know how it does. G Freeze in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, Stripe Action Gang. Thanks, sir, for coming to hang out. I really do appreciate it. Guys, it's time for me to take a sip of my lemonade. And while I do that, let me come back to the main cam. While I do that, if you guys can find it in your heart to touch that like button ever so gently, don't smash it, don't hit it with a sledgehammer, just ever so gently while I have a sip of my lemonade. I truly, truly appreciate it. Costs you nothing, and is a great way to support the channel and the content." LG's music, he loves that. See, LG's in the chat, so I haven't seen him as yet. All right, Eric B saying, "My third app in the fall with pre-emergent with dithiopyr, first 2 prodiamine. You can use the pH soil adjuster at what time during pre-emergent? The 2 aren't linked. You can do them. You could do them same day if you wanted to. You can do them same day. They're 2. Again, they're not. They are not connected. You can do them. They're separate. They're not. It really doesn't matter, Eric. And it sounds like you got a good program worked out. So you're doing like a split app here in the spring. In the fall, you're switching to Dimension or dithiopyr, which is good. So yeah, sounds like you got it going on. And yeah, as far as pH, adjusting pH, you can do that. You can do that now if you want to. Okay, Sukhal Paul is here in the house, and he says, "Hey Ron, I live in a part of the world, Canada. This is where the only pre-emergent we are allowed to use is corn gluten. How much do I need to use per 1,000 square feet for it to be effective? Should I even bother?" So here's the thing. I've seen conflicting research on corn gluten. Some people say that it is effective as a pre-emergent. Others say that it doesn't do a whole lot. So in other words, it just makes everything grow. So I'm not going to be able to give you an answer on this one. I just really don't know the answer. I've never used corn gluten. I have done some research on this because I've been looking into some other alternative pre-emergents, or from like that are more organic in nature. And it's a mix. It's a mix. Some people say it works and it works decently well. Other people say it does nothing and just makes everything else grow. So if that's all you have, then use it. Go with it. And if you want to give it a shot, you can. Should you even bother? I mean, it's again, really your call, sir. I would say this: if you do that, I wouldn't rely only on the corn gluten. Get out there and make sure you're keeping up with your mowing on your lawn, because it's really not said enough. But mowing your lawn regularly at the correct height with proper equipment, with sharp equipment, so you get you promote like a thick stand of grass, is excellent weed control. Like, weeds have a hard time germinating if you have a really tight canopy to where sunlight and warmth doesn't really get to it, to where the Bermuda or whatever grass type you might have is soaking all that up. So if you want to try the corn meal or corn gluten, go for it. But also commit to making sure you're doing a lot as far as keeping up with your mowing. Mowing twice a week, just that alone is going to do a lot for keeping or reducing the amount of weed pressure you have in your lawn. Hopefully that helps. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate having someone from Canada chiming in. So thanks for taking some time out of your Friday evening to come talk about turf grass. All right, so it looks like LG is here. Let me run down and come get him. And I'm sure, knowing him, he's going to want to have it with his music. We got 2 of them. First here, we have, did I miss any other super chats? Make sure I haven't missed any, because I don't want anyone to be mad at me. All right, next up, Dane Chancey's here with a super chat. Thank you so much, Dane.
Super chat received.
Appreciate the support, sir. Or it might be girl. I'm not sure. Dane could be a guy or girl's name. I'm not sure. But either way, thank you for the support. And then next up is LG. The notorious LG is here in the house.
Super chat received.
He says, "Love me some Tango Bolero. You got it, sir. I'll put it on for you while I go up here and find where I left off." Hopefully you're doing well. I know you've been dealing with some family stuff, so hopefully things are doing a little bit better in your world. Appreciate the support. Glad to see you coming to hang out in the live stream with all those other lawn crazies. All right, Dwayne Hopkins is up next. He says, when spraying liquid pre-emergent, although needing to be watered in to be absorbed into the soil, doesn't the grass naturally absorb some of it through the foliar just from contact? Probably. I mean, there probably is a bit of absorption, but I mean, as far as it being effective for what it's designed for, it needs to get into the soil. It needs to get in the soil. So really with pre-emergent, you want to apply it, water it in, and then it will begin working for the purpose that it's intended. So is there some absorption? Probably. I mean, like you figure the foliar of grass is like your skin, right? So if you pour, anything you put on your skin can be absorbed by it, right? So it depends. That's why certain chemicals, if you get them on your skin, like gasoline or anything like that, getting on your skin is dangerous because it can be toxic for you. Like you can think of the foliar of grass as the same kind of thing. It's like it actually breathes, and you can think of it like the skin of the grass. So is some of it absorbed? I'm sure some of the pre-emergent is, but for it to work and do what it's designed to do, which is to keep weeds from germinating, or from killing, to be more correct, from killing them when they germinate, it needs to be in the soil. You got to water it in. Good question, Dwayne. It's an interesting one. I've not had that one before. All right, he says, if so, how much does this affect the rate, and wouldn't granular always be the better option in this case? It doesn't materially affect the rate. I'm sure when they're developing pre-emergent, they take all that into consideration. They account for it. And is it better than granular? No, not necessarily, because you think about it, liquid, if you are doing a good job spraying it, you get very even coverage. So with a liquid product, your coverage is in general is going to be more consistent, and it's going to be more even, again, assuming you're not missing any spots whenever you make your passes, than a granular will be. So of the two, liquid is probably superior to granular, but both of them work equally well. You'll get a good result with both of them if you apply them properly at the correct rates and you water them in afterwards. So you're kind of splitting hairs here. It's kind of a mental exercise, a thought experiment. Either one will work well. You get better value for money with liquids when it comes to pre-emergent or water dispersible granules, but either one will work well. And as far as what you're talking about is it being some of it being absorbed, I am sure the manufacturers accounted for that in the design of the product and in the rates that they recommend you apply. Okay, Pat Haw is up next. He says, would you still apply pre-emergent if you were aerating and overseeding? I would not. If you are aerating, yes. If you're planning to overseed, again, I'm not sure what kind of grass you have, or maybe you have a cool season lawn, you're going to plan to overseed this year. If that's what you're going to do, I would not. And I should say this. Let me qualify that. If the seed germinating, if the grass growing in is your primary goal, if that's your primary thing where you want to have every opportunity for that to do as good as it can, I would not apply pre-emergent. If you're just trying to fill in some thin areas of your cool season grass, and you're just trying to, that's where you're going for, and you don't really care if some of it germinates, some of it doesn't, or you're willing to go back multiple times to get the spot to fill in, then putting down pre-emergent can work, but you are working against yourself. As far as aerating, regardless of whether I'm aerating or not, I would do pre-emergent, because as I said earlier, we had this question earlier, but I'll revisit it again, is even though aeration, yes, is a negative for doing pre-emergent. Yes, you are breaking that vapor barrier. It is not like if you aerate your lawn, all of a sudden you're going to have a massive weed outbreak. You will have less weed pressure if you do pre-emergent now, and then you aerate in April or whenever you decide you want to do it, than if you decide I'm going to wait till April, because in Georgia it's probably too late. I'm going to wait till April to aerate and then do pre-emergent afterwards. So you're ahead of the curve if you prevent the weeds from germinating in the first place versus waiting later in the season. So the only reason why I would not is if you're going to plan, again, if you're seeding a lawn and your primary goal for this season, for the spring, is to get a really good result with your seeding project. Hopefully that helps, Pat. Excellent question. Okay, next is Isaac. Oh man, I'm going to try this. I'm going to mess it up, but I'm going to do my best. Isaac Momperals. I think I got it. Isaac Momperals. What's going on, sir? Says, hey everyone, checking in for the live stream. NJ in the house, starting my spring plans this weekend. It's a good time to do it. Make sure you have pre-emergent as part of the spring plans is what I would recommend. But yeah, it's a good time to start planning what you're going to do for this season. Again, we have a lot of cool stuff at the golf course lawn store. Be sure to check that out as far as biostimulants, your pre-emergents, all that fun jazz, your soil test kits. So yeah, it's good that you are doing that, Isaac. Get ahead of the game. Next up, we got Jinwan. Jinwan says, hey Ron, crazy weather here in Austin, Texas. It seems like Texas is, you guys do everything big. Like, your temperature swings big, everything is bigger in Texas. He says, crazy weather here in Austin. I scalped to 0.20 inches, then freezing rain 2 days later in the low 20s. I am ready for spring. I hear you, man. I hear you. But the thing is, the things should balance out here soon. So the lows in the 20s, I imagine that's only going to be for a couple of days. I mean, is it ideal right after you scalp? Not so much, but it's likely to be temporary this time of year. So I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. Spring will be here before you know it. You'll be out there mowing and living your best life. Robert Rainey says, we have our Soil 3 leveling mix on order. Awesome. That's awesome, Robert. Yeah, and again, for those of you that joined the live stream that don't know what he's talking about, we've partnered with Supersod, the people that make the awesome leveling mix that you saw in my major big top dressing video from last summer, the big yellow bag, folks, where you can save 30% on pretty much anything in their store. So any of the leveling mix, just the pure soil cubed, the big bags, the small bags, like all of their stuff, 30% off. I should say this on the leveling mixes. They have other products too. I don't want to say on everything, but definitely on the leveling mix and on the soil cube compost. And regardless of size, you can save 30% by using this link that I will post in the chat, Robert. I know you already got yours, but other people might not. So if you guys are thinking about top dressing your lawn, this weekend is the last time to benefit from that sale, unless I can talk them into doing another one in the spring. Probably not. They'll probably tell me to kick rocks, because the reason why they do it now is because it's too much work to do all the deliveries in the spring. So if you're planning on top dressing and you have a place to keep it, again, the bags seal up fairly well. Save yourself some money using the link that's in the description right now. But good job, Robert. You're ahead of it, man. You got your irrigation done last year. That you're set for the season. I like it. You're not messing around. All right, next up, we got Archie in the house. He says, evening, Ron, checking in from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. Thanks for coming to hang out, Wiley. I appreciate you. Thanks for that. And then we have Vudong Dong Tien Long. I'm pretty sure your name is Vietnamese, and I apologize for butchering it, but hello. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday to come hang out with all of us. And then next up, we have Ratman2121. He says, how low of a scalp is good enough for Bermuda? And is a dethatch necessary before pre-emergent application? So how low of a scalp is good enough? It depends. It depends on a couple of things. One, how much work you want to do. So if work is no object, like you don't care, I can tell you that, the Real Rollers guys and myself and like Alex did a reasonable scalp. He didn't go down to the dirt, but a good quarter to half an inch below the height of cut that you intend to maintain the lawn at, I consider that to be a pretty good scalp. And as a dethatch, is it necessary for pre-emergent application? No, it's not. And really for Bermuda, if you had a choice between dethatching and verticutting, I would lean more towards verticutting. I mean, dethatching Bermuda, like I did it last year for the first time. I've only done it once, and it just creates a big mess. All it does is it pulls up all the stolons, like all the runners that are along the top that Bermuda uses to spread. It just creates a big mess with that. And I don't see a ton of value with it in Bermuda as much as verticutting. Like verticutting has a lot more of the two. Verticutting is what I would lean towards for a creeping grass like Bermuda. Dethatching more for like fescue or taller growing grass. That would be my take. Is it necessary for pre-emergent application? No. But if you're planning to do it, if you're planning to scalp and verticut, then yeah, why not do those two first and then do pre-emergent afterwards? Now, if you do your pre-emergent, say this weekend, water it in really heavily, it gets watered in, and then next week you scalp or verticut, it's still going to work fine. You're not going to have any issues with it. But if you're trying to be as optimal as possible, yeah, get rid of the grass that you want to get rid of first, verticut, and that's going to really open everything up. And then when you put your pre-emergent down, you're just going to get more out of it. It's going to get down to the soil better. But again, we're really splitting hairs here. If you told me that if you did the order differently, that there'd be a material difference that you would notice, like this lawn had pre-emergent, and then a week later it was scalped and verticut, versus like lawn A was that, and then lawn B was scalped and verticut and then pre-emergent, and that there's a massive difference in the amount of weed pressure that you had in the two lawns, I don't think you would really see it. But again, if you're just trying to do things as correctly as possible, the most optimal way, you would get rid of the grass, you would verticut, and then you would do your pre-emergent. Great question. Hopefully that helps, Ratman. I like how you're thinking. I like where your mind is, sir. Good stuff. Okay, Michael Marshall is here. He says, "Hey Ron, checking in from Dallas, Georgia. Have you greened up any?" I have, Michael. I'm still struggling to come out of dormancy. I have, Michael. I have greened up. It's a combination of things. The lawn has been scalped. I make sure I get down my Essential G monthly. So as far as like having like crazy healthy soil, like I've got that in my lawn. The height of cut is lower. Like I regularly use the biostimulants, like the things I was talking about earlier, as far as Essential G and the things that are in the carbon kit. And then also, we have to remember my lawn has been seeded or overseeded with Arden 15. I don't necessarily recommend for most people to go about doing that. I did it because I had some trees taken out of portions of my lawn, and instead of plugging, which would have been a better approach, I seeded. I use Arden 15. I like the way it looked in that one spot, so I did the entire thing, but not really something that I necessarily would recommend for most people unless you're really doing a full out lawn renovation. So it's a combination of those things. It is a combination of Arden 15, which does green up. It comes out of dormancy sooner and goes into comes out of dormancy sooner and goes into dormancy later than Tifway 419 does. And again, that coupled with, all the other things that I do to my lawn regularly, monthly, particularly the Essential G and maintaining shortcut turf, the lawn just greens up quickly. I mean, again, you are already seeing, I'm not sure how long you've been watching the live stream, but in the back lawn, this is video from this, you can see where, here towards the end of it, you see where it's greening up right there. So all throughout here, it's greening up. And then if we go to the front lawn, there's also some green up as well. Look along the lower area along by the sidewalk is greening up there. And over here by the tree, which you guys cannot see in this video, over there's quite a bit of green. There's actually a lot more green than what you're seeing here on the lawn. So yes, I am getting some green up, and it's a number of factors that are causing that. So hopefully, don't worry about it. Your lawn's going to green up soon enough, but just remember, my lawn gets babied. It gets all the good stuff. And that's partially why. If you scroll back in the live stream, depending on how you've been watching, when I answered Meryl's question, you can see a biostimulant stack that I used on the lawn that is going to help things. It's going to help, stimulate that microbial activity, that activity that helps to start feeding the grass, start feeding the plants. So something to consider, or you can just wait a few weeks and your lawn will begin greening up anyway. All right, next is Tyler. He says, Tyler Smith, he says, "Hey Ron, do you recommend rotating pre-emergence like you do with fungicides? If so, what's your rotation schedule?" Yeah, so with pre-emergent, it's, even though with prodiamine, to my knowledge anyway, there's not been any, I've not seen any big studies or conclusive studies that show that there are a lot of weeds that are forming resistance to prodiamine. But given the fact that prodiamine and dithiopyr are so close in price, right? So the difference between like Dimension, or if you're using the brand names, like Barricade and Dimension, like the brand names for those products, for those active ingredients, they're so close in price that it's there's no reason to not do it. There's no reason to not use one in the fall and use one in the spring. If you're trying to be super nerdy, if I had a choice, I would use either one will work well, but if you think about it, Dimension or dithiopyr has some reach back. It has the ability to kill younger crabgrass. So baby crabgrass that starts germinating, it has the ability to kill them. So I mean, again, young crabgrass, like one that's just starting to try and find its way in the world, dithiopyr has the ability to smack it down, right? Whereas prodiamine does not. So if you're trying to be super optimal and you're just trying to nerd out, using dithiopyr in the spring makes a lot of sense. Makes probably a little bit more sense to use in the springtime than it does in the fall. You know what I mean? So both of them are very, very good pre-emergence. Prodiamine is excellent at POA management and preventing POA. And again, we're just really splitting hairs here. But because the price difference between them is so similar, that yes, rotating them is a good idea. Even though, again, I've not seen anything that really says that there are weeds that form resistance to either of those pre-emergents. But again, they're practically the same price. So why not? One in the spring, one in the fall. So hopefully that helps. And then, yeah, as far as fungicides, for the most part on home lawns, it's going to be azoxystrobin or propiconazole. So yeah, you can get both of those in Headway G. Like this is the fungicide that I use since you brought it up. This guy here, Headway G. You can go with Caravan, which is a combination insecticide and fungicide, but that's only azoxystrobin. Headway G has much greater coverage as far as the number of lawn fungi that it will control and or prevent. So if you're going to get a a fungicide, Headway is the one that I would personally go with. Like the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to do Headway as your fungicide and use Acelepryn G as your insecticide, because Acelepryn you can apply next month, like middle to the end of next month. You can do that. Fungicides, especially when you're using them as preventatives, the window for using those really doesn't make sense until like May, June time frame for us, right? So that's why while Caravan is a less expensive product, and if you wanted to wait till like May, June to use it, you can get some good, you can get your insecticide down and get some good coverage with that. But because Acelepryn is better in a lot of ways, like for example, I'm fairly certain that the active ingredient that's in Caravan does not target armyworms, whereas Acelepryn does. It will target armyworms and it will prevent them. Did an awesome job last year on my lawn and Alex's lawn. And it's like season-long coverage. You put it down once in March and you're good until like you're done for the season as far as insecticides go. So I like to decouple them mainly because then you're able to apply both at the optimal times. And and you get a better result, frankly. So hopefully that helps. Good question. Good question, Tyler. I like it. All right, next up, Paco is back and says, actually, before Paco, I get your question, let me go down here and get a super chat from Lance F. Thank you so much, Lance. I appreciate the support.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much, sir. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try and find where I was without the music, but I may have to resort to that, guys, because scrolling is hard. All right, Paco is here and says, can I put down pre-emergent months before putting down sod? It doesn't have to germinate, so I should be good, right? What kind of sod, Paco? If you are doing it, well, yeah, the short answer is yes, you should be fine. If you're doing Bermuda, absolutely. Like if you're doing, let's say, you're doing pre-emergent now, and you're not going to be putting down Bermuda sod until like summer, yeah, that should be okay. What I would not do is or I'd be less leery to do is if you were putting down sod and then you're going to go put pre-emergent right on top of it. Again, with something like Bermuda, you'd likely get away with it. Like with my lawn, it was sodded in December and it had pre-emergent the following March. Like 3 months later, it had pre-emergent on it. I would not do that for any cool season lawns. I would not do that for any fescues or rye or KBG. I wouldn't do that. I would give those really, conventional wisdom and best practice says you give it an entire year before you do any kind of pre-emergent on those grass types. With Bermuda, giving that, in some circles, it's considered to be a weed and it's tenacious in nature. You can get away with a lot with it that you cannot do to other grass types. So hopefully that helps. Great question. And hopefully the answer was useful to you. Next up, we got Thomas Hansen. He says, if I go on top dressing, I go sand only. How deep can the sand layer be? Thanks. Okay, so if you decide to top dress and you want to go sand only, again, I don't really recommend doing that. I like a sand soil mix. But if you want to do that, no worries. I am not a fan of completely submerging the grass, Thomas. So in most cases, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch is a good happy number to go with as far as the amount of sand to put down. With Bermuda, you can get away with going heavier. Like with Bermuda, there are people that will beach the entire lawn like it's just all sand, and it will grow through that. Like you're not going to kill the Bermuda. But I don't recommend it for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to take the lawn a lot longer to recover if you do that. And then second, if you get any kind of heavy rainfall, you don't have the grass, like the grass is like fingers, right? You don't have the grass to hold on to the sand, and you're much likely to have it shift around and make a big mess, and you have to be out there with a leveling rake trying to fix it. So I would limit it to 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. If you want to see what I recommend, well, how I top dress anyway, let me get a video here and I will show you what it looks like for when I do it. I have, what the worst part about search is, anytime I search top dressing, because I have so many videos on it, I have like literally 39 videos with top dressing in the subject. So there you go. Go figure. All right. So yeah, so the video I'm putting in the chat here now that you can check out, watch it afterwards, keep watching the live stream. You can see when I'm done what the lawn looks like, and that is what I would recommend with your top dressing. As far as even if you're going 100% sand, that's as far as I would go, because again, if you do it the way I'm suggesting, the way you see in that video, even if it's your first time, within 2 weeks, the grass should grow through it fairly nicely to where you're going to be able to start mowing a bit sooner. If you go like the heavy route, you could be, 4 weeks, could be a month before you're able to mow. And again, if it rains, it's going to create a mess. So hopefully that helps. Great question. Good job on planning ahead as far as your top dressing goes. And hopefully that was useful. Bama's number 1 says, hello, Ron, you're back. So you see, you were quiet for a while after the dogs put that beat down on the Crimson Tide, but you're back. You're back here to give me grief. It's okay, man. I'm glad that you're back. We are here's the thing. We're probably not going to win another one here anytime soon. So, and you guys are probably going to win next year or go to the championship again next year because that's what Alabama does. So let us have our 1 year of being champions, man. Love it. He says, love your humor, man. Just giving you a hard time. Yeah, you got to have fun, man. Life is short. You got to live, laugh, be nice to people. Don't be a jerk. Words to live by. Your life will go better if you do that. All right, next up we have Jamie Blackburn in the house. Says, notice dollar spot on my dormant Bermuda. Have not scalped yet. Should I scalp first and then apply a round of propiconazole? Or will the fungicide hurt the spring green up? So here's the thing, dollar spot in Bermuda. Here's the thing, Jamie. I might just wait. How much dollar spot are you really dealing with? Is it like a small amount here and there? Or is it a huge problem? What I would do if it were me, if late February, today, February 25th, if I went out on my lawn tomorrow morning and I saw some dollar spot on it, which would be kind of interesting because my lawn's largely still dormant right now. But if that were the case, I would more than likely wait until March and then just begin feeding the lawn, because once you start introducing nitrogen, you start giving Bermuda nitrogen, that in of itself works really well for keeping dollar spot away. Like in a Bermuda lawn that has good nutrient levels, like nitrogen levels are where they should be, dollar spot really shouldn't be a huge problem. It's more things like large patch and summer patch, like those are our nemesis. Those will get Bermuda. And that's where like preventative fungicide makes sense. But dollar spot, I would give it, if you want to go out with propiconazole, you can, but I would give it till next month and see, once you start introducing some nitrogen and the lawn starts growing in nicely, how it does. I wouldn't be so quick to smack the lawn with propiconazole now. It's your call. Obviously, you're further ahead in the growing season than I am. If you're at the point where you're seeing dollar spot on your lawn, like the grass is obviously primarily or largely beginning to green up fairly well. So it's your call. Either way will work. But if you want to hold off on putting the fungicide down until next month, that is what I would lean towards. As far as it hurting spring green up, it shouldn't. As long as you use correct rates, you should be just fine. It shouldn't materially negatively. It shouldn't have a largely negative result on your spring green up, like say using a herbicide would, right? So hopefully that helps. Sorry you're dealing with it. But I think this will soon pass once temps get better and you start fertilizing the lawn, start feeding it. Clayton says short soy are great. Do you think it's a good idea? As far as taking some snippets, I'll work on it, man. Something I will try. It'll be interesting because I'll have people's like comments in some of these short videos. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot and see how it works out. All right, David Lee is back. He says, Ron, watching videos from day one. I appreciate that, man. I says, good job, Ron. Enough blessings, brethren. I really appreciate it. So if you're watching my videos from day one, first of all, let me say I am sorry. I apologize. I have a very difficult time looking at my older videos. Like, I'll go get my older videos. Like if I want some B-roll of some older footage, like whenever I was doing good example, the verticutting video tomorrow, I got some older verticutting footage from when Lon had it done with the tractor. And I looked through the video and I was like, this is absolutely horrible. Why would anyone watch this? It was bad. Some people would argue that my videos now are still bad, but then they were even worse. So I appreciate you sticking around through all the pain, and hopefully the level of content has gotten better over the years to where I will continue to have you as a viewer. I really, really do appreciate it, David. Thanks for the support. All right, Kevin is up next, just on cue. He says, time to gently hit the like button. It's free to you and helps the YouTube algorithm know that you like the content and support. That's a good thing. I am getting dry throat here, so I'm going to ask you guys, if you are new to the chat, new to the live stream, if you just come in, you're getting settled down with your beverage of choice tonight. For me, it's lemonade in my hat that my cup that Josh Habib graciously gave to me. So you can see it's the official live stream cup chalice. If you guys would do that while I have a sip, wet my whistle a little bit, I would really appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Let's see. All right, our next question is from Dane. Dane is back. He says, from Georgia, any tips for real mowing on a new red clay lawn? You'd mow just like any other lawn for the most part, Dane. The thing I'd say is if you can plan for a top dressing once we get further into the season. So like once you said it's new. I'm not sure how new it is. I mean, I'm assuming it's new and it's Bermuda. So Bermuda, you're gonna be able to aerate it this year, no problem, because it's Bermuda. But let's say we fast forward to like May timeframe where you're ready to get out there and core aerate and top dress. That's going to do a lot as far as helping drainage, because typically red clay doesn't drain very well, just kind of creates a big mess. So if it's in your budget and it's something you want to try out and you're really, really serious about getting the lawn to look as nice as possible, as well as helping with drainage, top dressing is something that I would recommend doing at some point. You know, it sounds like you have a new lawn, maybe you got a new reel mower, and it might be too much to do all in one season this year, but if you can, top dressing is something that I would recommend. If you can't top dress, I would recommend doing core aeration at a minimum, because that's going to help with drainage. It's going to help with compaction issues, gets air down into the soil. There's just tons of benefits to core aeration, probably why golf courses just do it so often. But yeah, so you've got different levels. You got like the basic, which is core aeration, and then actually basic thing one is just mow it a lot. Mow it twice a week. That's level 1. Level 2 is core aerate and mow it a lot. Level 3 is core aerate, mow it a lot, and what did I say? I said and top dress. So core aerate, top dress, and then mow it a lot. The common theme here is mowing it a lot. That's one of the best things you're going to do to have a great looking lawn. But if you've got the time and the inclination and you don't mind a bit of pain and suffering, a core aeration with a top dress is going to do a lot for really improving the look of your lawn and helping with drainage issues, compaction, like all those things. So congrats on the new lawn, and let us know if we can help with anything else. I appreciate you coming to hang out and watch the live stream. Appreciate the support. All right, Botros Marzuk is here in the house. He says, I just put down granular pre-emergent. When should I scalp? I put down granular. Once you've watered it in, Botros, so let's say you did your pre-emergent last weekend, right? And you watered it in, or you had plenty of rain, so it got watered in. Then you go ahead and do your scalp. You're good to go, because it really shouldn't be, unless you're taking it down to the dirt, which, I don't know if you're going to go that hardcore. The pre-emergent should already be down in the soil or working its way down into the soil. So you're good to go. So as long as you've already applied it and it's been watered in, feel free to do your scalp, man. No worries there. All right, next up is Patrick in Texas is waiting on green. I tell you, man, Texas, I don't know what you guys did, Patrick. You guys. I mean, all I'm hearing over from Patrick, from Texas, the overall theme is things were going great, and you got the cold snap, and then no! That's what everybody's like. That's what everyone in Texas is like right now, due to the little cold snap you guys had. But it'll be back, fair or not. Once you get some warm weather, it will bounce back. I would not worry about it. Wouldn't sweat it. Okay, Dwayne is back with a question. He says, "Hey Ron, what can be done to green up faster? Faster fertilizer, or is greening up strictly based on Mother Nature's timeline on weather in the area where I live?" So yes, it's a combination of things. I would not do fertilizer, or at least not fertilizer with nitrogen in it now. I would wait. I would hold off on the N until the grass is actively growing. If you want to put down, if you had some liquid potassium, just that, if you wanted to do that, you could get away with it. If you wanted to do the biostimulant package, I actually showed you guys. I showed Meryl a picture earlier. Actually, I can show you again. All right, Face ID, do not fail me. There we go. So yeah, this is what I did the other night, and you'll notice that there's practically no N in any of this. Wrong camera. There you go. So you see NutriKelp, Nutrizol, which is like a micronutrient, all it is, and then Release Zero and Biospectrum, which is a microbial package for the soil. So really, one thing you notice about this entire theme is that there's no nitrogen in it. I'm not trying to push a lot of growth. I'm literally just putting a biostimulant in to help feed the soil, give the soil a little bit of love, right? And to your point, it's a combination of the healthier soil. It's a combination of temperature. It's a combination of like the height of cut matters. So if you have really, really tall grass, you get like 3-inch Bermuda, you are going to green up slower than if you have short cut Bermuda. If you scalp to where you're really exposing a lot of the soil to where that sunlight and heat can really get down, that's going to help you green up sooner. So it's a combination of things that will factor into that. When I hear fertilizer, technically what I put down, you could consider that to be fertilizer. If you say fertilizer, I'd say yes, sans nitrogen. No nitrogen until the lawn is greening up and actively growing. Don't do it now. It's not going to really take advantage of it, and you could potentially introduce more problems with like fungus issues by doing that versus waiting when the lawn is actively growing. So there you go. You saw an option for what I did. I'll actually post that on Instagram tonight if I can remember to do it. And yeah, that's it. Just wait, or you can just wait, man. Scalp it and then just wait. There's always that. Great question. Yeah, and Lavendi says, "Yep, I'm in Florida." Okay, so yeah, so in your case, what I was saying makes sense because you're I guess in Florida and your lawn is green year round because Florida, right? All right, next is Dalvin Larry. What you got for me, Dalvin? What have you got for me tonight? Let's see. Dalvin says, "Hey Ron, the early warm weather got my lawn turning green faster than I want it, especially after scalping. With that said, should I adjust my Fert app or maybe feed it a small dose of Turfplex?" You know what? People are never happy. First, it's like, what can I do to get my lawn to green up faster? And now it's like, it's greening faster than I want. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want to be able to turn it on and off, like throttle how fast the grass grows, green when you want it, dormant when you don't want it? Hey, never happy. As far as Turfplex, I have not seen your lawn, so I don't know how green it is. But if it were me, I would wait. I would wait until next month because Turfplex is like 20% nitrogen, so that's a pretty good dose. So I would wait. It's 20% quick release nitrogen, so I would wait till next month on that. If you want to do what I just put up on the screen there, as far as like the carbon kit, the microbial package, like that, you can absolutely do now, especially with your lawn turning green. No worries with that. But I would hold off on the N until next month. There's not a big rush. Just wait till next month before you start introducing something like Turfplex to the lawn. Again, next month is only like next week. So really, if your lawn is greening up and the warming trend continues, like in 2 weeks from now, you're going to be doing it. I think you're in the academy, you'll notice in the academy, the calendar doesn't have you really applying any fertilizer until March timeframe. Some people don't even do it till April, but I'm assuming that if you're in the academy, you're real mowing or you have a shorter cut turf, or you're just taking really good care of your lawn, where your lawn is greening up sooner than the other lawns in the neighborhood where you can start feeding it a bit sooner. So let's wait till next month, Dalvin. I know it's going to kill you. You're just going to have to deal with it greening up sooner than you want, but I would wait. All right, Jason is up next. This is an interesting question. He says, "Hey Ron, do you have good tips for people with special needs? I can't understand watering, fertilizer, and weeds. My grass doesn't grow, only weeds do." Yeah, man. So I don't know. I don't know what your condition is as far as special needs. As far as products, as far as an easier route to go is to go with stick with granular products, because with the liquid products, you are going to have to make sure you measure accurately, and you want to make sure that the sprayer you use, how much fluids and how much product you're putting out. Whereas granular, you have a bit more leeway. Literally, if you get the granular product, you put the right amount into your spreader, or even if you fill the entire spreader up, and you calibrate it properly, you set the setting to where it's supposed to be according to what's on the bag. You walk your entire lawn. If there's stuff still left, there's still product still left in the hopper, just pour it back into the bag, right? So that way you're not having to measure it, you don't have to use a scale or anything like that. But just make sure you use like granular products, because that's going to be a bit easier. It's going to be a bit easier to use. As far as for weeds, pre-emergent. And when I say pre-emergent is a special type of herbicide that prevents weeds from being a problem in the first place. There's a couple of options for that. So if you want pre-emergent, like here at the Golf Course Lawn Store, we've got a couple I can show you really quick. So go to golfcourselawn.store. It's pinned to the top of the comment. And here we've got a couple. You've got dithiopyr, aka Dimension, and you also got prodiamine. Both of these are good choices for pre-emergent for preventing weeds. If you already have weeds in your lawn, and you want an option for getting rid of them, again, in a granular product, so like a post-emergent, I'm going to tell you about a product called Spectracide. And the nice thing about it is that you can find that locally. You can find it at like your local Home Depot. It's not terribly expensive, and I am going to show you here what it looks like. So you're going to go to Home Depot. I was at my local one. They had bags of it out already, and you're going to see a bag that looks like this. It is the only bag that looks like that. This guy right here. Let me get your question off so you can see. This is a really, really good product as far as killing weeds that are in your lawn that are already there, right? This is as far as granular products that work well as a post-emergent. So for a product that kills weeds that are already growing in your lawn, this is a good option. The only thing you want to keep in mind with this, right, is for it to work best, for you to get the best results with it, you want to put it on the grass or on the weeds whenever it's actively, whenever the lawn is wet. Okay, so either you water it or just go out really early in the morning and put this in your broadcast spreader. Set the setting to where it needs to be because there's settings on the bag, and then use this product when the lawn is wet, and that also provides very good control for a lot of weeds in your lawn. So that's an easy way to go as far as having a lawn care program where you keep weeds out of your lawn. Using granulars, which are a lot easier. Let me get your question back up here. Your thing back up here, which are a lot easier to do instead of liquids. Because liquids, you do have to be a bit more careful, but you can still get a great result using those products that I spoke about. As far as fertilizer, when we get into that, so we covered weeds, like that's your weed control. When we get into fertilizer, we'll go back here to the store, to the golf course lawn store. You got a couple of different options. The one that I would go with is this one, Humic Max, the Country Club. This is a really good balanced fertilizer. It's as far as one that's good for your particular grass type. It's not a starter for it, but it's an excellent fertilizer. There are settings on the bag for a lot of common spreaders, and also in the description of here. So if you go to golfcourseline.store and you go to the description, I've got spreader settings for like the Scott spreaders in here as well. So if you get a Scott spreader, I've got you covered as well as on the website. So that's what I'd recommend. Also, man, if you have any questions, I can help out with anything, shoot me an email. It's my email right here. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email and I will help you out. Just let me know what questions you have or what you're dealing with, or send me pictures of your lawn, and we will come up with a program and a process that works. So appreciate you coming out in the live stream, and it takes a lot to do that. So if I can help with anything else, let me know. Hopefully that was useful. All right, next up, Dane is back. Dane Chancey's back. He is from Georgia near Winder. Red clay everywhere on my new sod. Help me get to real mowing ready. So I told you kind of already, Dane. Again, just start mowing it. You're already real mowing ready. Like all you have to do is just raise your height, cut up a bit, and just roll with that until you aerate and top dress, and then you can be able to take that height to cut down. But you could real mow what you got now. I mean, I haven't seen it, but most lawns are capable of being real mowed, assuming the builder did a half decent job laying the sod down. But you already got a plan of action as far as aerating and top dressing and all that stuff. So hopefully that helps out. Let me run down here and get a super chat. Thank you so much. Let me see. I got one here from, we already did LG, we did Lance, but we have a new one here from Eric B. Thank you so much for that, Eric.
Super chat received.
And he says, thanks for answering all my questions in general, past and present. Ron's a great guy. I really appreciate that, Eric. I do my best. Like I said, I don't always have all the answers, but I do my best to help out wherever possible. Wherever possible. Okay, Kevin D. Jones is back. Anytime Kevin or Larry, Kevin or Dalvin come in, I know it's always going to be an in-depth question. Always happens. They never give me easy ones. He says, hey, Ron, to raise low spots and washouts, can you sod over Bermuda sod because the leveling needed is over 5 inches? Wow. I thought of cutting the sod out and using Carbon Pro and sand. Yeah, 5 inches is a lot, Kevin. That's a lot to build up, man. If it's a small area, so let's say you have like a very small spot of the lawn where this is the case, in that situation, then maybe opening, like cutting the sod, raising it up, or building up underneath it and laying it back down is going to be your best bet. 5 inches is a lot to build up with top dressing. I mean, that's years and years and years and years and years of top dressing. If it's a bigger area, like kind of like a swale, I might see if you can top dress to where you're able to mow it without scalping. You know what I mean? So you kind of give it up in the sense that it's not going to be completely flat. Like kind of like how my front lawn is. There's an area on my front lawn. There's like a little hump there that you guys may not notice, but it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Like irritates me every time I look at it. But with that, I've just top dressed around it to make the contour better, to where I can mow over it without an issue. That's kind of where I'm leaning, man, because 5 inches with top, I mean, you're not going to build that up with top dressing. That's going to be like sod cutter, lift it up, build it up, like do major surgery, lay it back down. And then when you're done and it settles, then you're going to top dress on top of that. So kind of depends on you, how much work you want to put in, how bad it is. This is one of those things where pictures would be really awesome. If you don't mind, I think you're in the Golf Course Land Academy. If you are, put it in the chat, in the Facebook group, and we'll take a look at it. We can all like brainstorm on it together. Or if you want, send me an email here at ron@thegolfcourselawn.com, and I will do my best to help you out. But 5 inches from top dressing is a lot. That's a bit much. If it's like, again, if it were like one tiny small spot, okay, but like a big, like a bigger area, that's a you know, I have to see a picture of what you're dealing with to be able to give you a good answer. But I'm thinking you're going to end up contouring that instead of trying to fill it all in with top dressing in one go. Thanks for the question. Hopefully that helps. LG says, howdy at Ron Henry. Howdy, LG. Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Hopefully, like I said earlier, hopefully, you know, everything is going better in your world. Next up, we got David Polanco says, what's up, Ron and Lawn Turf crew? Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. Hopefully you're doing well, David. Thanks for hanging out in the live stream. And then we have Jason A up next. He says, hey, Ron, builders installed Bermuda sod back in November. Should I hold off on pre-emergent? I wouldn't. I would put your pre-emergent down. I absolutely would. Yep, I would. I mean, that's what I did. That's what I did on my lawn. And you have, the key word is Bermuda. It's not, you know, you should be just fine. You will be just fine with Bermuda. If it were any other grass type, I might say, you know, let's give it for cool season grass, definitely an entire season. But Bermuda is just so tenacious. I mean, it grows really, really, really well. And it's difficult to kill. So I guess the question we'd ask this, Jason, is if the lawn looks like it's a lawn now, right? To where it's not like it was just sodded, where there's like still lines everywhere and it looks like it never rooted in, and it never, you know, it's still struggling with growing in. If you want to wait till a little bit later to do it on your pre-emergent, you could, but I can only answer questions based on my personal experience and what I have seen. And you're not going to have any, you'll be the one lawn that it happens to, right? But you should not have an issue by doing pre-emergent on Bermuda sod, you know, that was laid, you know, late last year. So late October, early November, should not be a problem. Should not be a problem at all. All right, next we have Brick Rehab. He says, come on, Ron, we've been over this. Obviously Bermuda, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. All right, okay, I stand corrected. You know, I remember names, and I try to remember, especially the problem lawns, I can remember certain things about them. Like VMH, he's Mr. Crabgrass guy. Because he was emailing me a bunch last year. We were talking back and forth, and in the live stream, that was his big thing to try and fix. And in the comments for the videos, that was his whole thing, was like crabgrass. So that's how I always remember him. I don't think your lawn has really had too many challenges. So that's why I think I don't have a lawn or a lawn issue to associate with your names. That's why I tend to mess it up. So it's not intentional. I apologize. I'm not trying to forget. I'm not trying to do it on purpose. I promise. All right. Flippin' while you sippin'. Awesome name, by the way. Awesome avatar name. Says, hello from Houston. H-Town, man. I got family in H-Town. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Thanks for coming to hang out and check out in the chat. Grace, how's it going? She says, hey, Ron. Happy Grace. How's it going? Grace is you talk about somebody like LG, a few other people, but as far as someone that is a longtime supporter of a lot of live streams, Grace is one of them. Like, you always see her on this live stream, but also several others, always supporting the creators, which is really, really good. So thanks for coming to hang out, Grace. I appreciate you. All right, Jeremy Espinoza is up next. He says, I live in Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I put down pre-emergent this past Monday. We had ice on Thursday, kind of a theme in Texas right now. Sounds like everybody's getting frozen out. Would this affect the pre-emergent? No. As long as you water it in, it's going to be fine. And when could I scalp? I have Bermuda grass. So once you're on a warming trend, Jeremy, feel free to scalp. I did my initial scalp 2 or 3 weeks ago. And, you know, so we were still having days or lows in some cases in like the high 30s, low 40s. So if you want to do a pre-scalp soon, you can. but yeah, it's not, as far as your first question is the ice that you just had, or the cold snap, is it going to affect the pre-emergent? No, it's still going to work just fine. It's not likely to stick around. So like one day or 1 or 2 days of very, very cold weather is not going to make a huge difference. Now, if you told me that, the entire state of Texas is now like a block of ice and the ground is frozen and it's going to be that way for the next 4 weeks, then yeah, I mean, when it thaws out, you might want to do pre-emergent, maybe. But it should not cause a problem. You should be just fine. I know a lot of you guys were getting all excited because your temperatures were a lot warmer than usual for this time of year, but it's gonna be okay. And as far as scalping, if you've already put the pre-emergent down, you've already watered it in, then you can scalp whenever you feel like doing it. Great question. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream, sir. Archie here says, learning a lot from you. I have this question. What should I mix with Bermuda seed since the seed is so tiny? I think we wasted a lot of seed last year. Thanks. So I'm a fan of mixing sand, Archie. There's people that don't do anything. You don't necessarily have to. If you used a slit seeder, so if you use like a verticutter, like the unit, tell you what, watch my video tomorrow morning. It's coming out at 7. That device that I use, that tool that I use, is really, it's verticut. I'm using it for verticut, but it's really a slit seeder. And that is, if you're using something like that, where the seed is in a hopper and it's like literally falling down, like it's falling this far from like from the tool to the soil, then you don't really need to mix anything with it. But if you're doing it the way I did it, which is the less ideal way, which is using a broadcast spreader, then mixing it with a bit of play sand, like you can go to or your local garden store or whatever and get you some play sand, mix that with it. That's going to give it a little bit of body and not let the seed blow all over the place whenever you put it down, assuming you're using a broadcast spreader. The best way to seed a lawn, if you're going to you're doing a renovation or you're just trying to improve an existing one, is to use like a slit seeder. And that's going to literally a verticutter. You'll see tomorrow morning in the video, it cuts, it's like little knives that are, I don't know, 2 inches or so apart, and it cuts these grooves, and then the seeds drop into those grooves. So as far as seed to soil contact, it's really hard to beat. If you use that, then you need to really mix anything with it. Broadcast spreader, a bit of play sand, I find tends to work well. Hopefully that helps. And as far as ratio, doesn't really matter. You can do 50-50. I do 50-50, but it's not like you have to be perfectly measured out on that. So that might be your next question. Well, how much sand, how much seed? Like half and half. Half and half. All right. Bama's actually, no, first we got Flipping While You Slipping here. He says, hello, I'm a big time rookie. My front lawn looks bad. Do you suggest a light scalp to treat it and also to do a top dress? Sure. I mean, here's the thing. Everybody's lawn starts from somewhere. My lawn looks like the way it does now, but it didn't start that way overnight. Like this lawn was not, if you guys saw the way it looked, if you want to see how it looks, go to golfcourselawn.com right there where my course is. And, the video that's there, play that video and you'll see there's only a few seconds of it. If you play that video, you can see what the lawn looked like prior. There's a few sections, a few snippets in there, a few B-roll cuts in there where you can actually see what the lawn used to look like. So everyone's lawn starts somewhere, flipping while you sip in. But as far as your plan, a light scalp, good idea. Nothing wrong with that. And then a top dress later on in the season, sure, absolutely makes sense. The thing I'd say is, the thing that you can do that's going to make a big difference in your lawn is regular mowing. So yes, a scalp is a great idea. And then top dressing, always love that. Makes the lawn look great. But if you can also commit to mowing twice a week, at least twice a week, whenever you're in the growing season, that in itself is going to do a lot. And then when you start adding in, like the biostimulants, like the golf course lawn carbon kit, and some of the more premium fertilizers, then you're really gonna love it. It's gonna be really awesome then. But mowing is really the foundation. Like anyone that says they want to, when my neighbors walk by, sometimes they say, "Oh, I want a lawn just like yours," and I'm like, you gotta like mowing grass, because that's a big part of it. Like a lot of the products, even things that we sell in the golf course lawn store, the carbon kit, a lot of the biostimulants, they're excellent products. They do make a difference in the health of your soil, which influences the health of your turf. But what you'll end up with, if you just put these products down, you don't mow very often, is really, really green, like scraggly looking turf. So if you want it to look like a golf course, that comes from mowing, in addition to the soil testing and the proper fertilizers and biostimulants and everything else that goes along with it. So yeah, your plan sounds great, sir. And if I can help with anything else as you go along, definitely let me know. And yeah, just enjoy the journey, because it is a process. It is a process. Your lawn will never be perfect. If you can just, kind of realize that now, that it's never perfect, or it's never perfect for more than a week or two, then you're going to be a lot less frustrated with the process. Okay, next here, Bama's number one says, "Hey Ron, as we all are all dying to get going, do you have anything for early green up as far as nutrition? Another YouTuber, How to with Doc, applies triple 10 fast release. Thanks, man. If your lawn is already greening up, like if it's there's more green, or there's equal amounts of green as there are brown, and you want to use like a starter for like a triple 10 or something like that, then sure. What I would recommend instead is to use something like, I can only tell you what I would do on what I'm doing on my lawn, right? Which is a biostimulant type package. I would not start heating the lawn with material amounts of nitrogen until it's starting to grow, until it's actively growing. Until you start seeing like, hey, there's more green, there's green all throughout the lawn. Now I can start feeding it, So can you do a triple 10 now, triple 12 now? Sure, you can. But as far as something that you can do that's not going to cause problems, this is what I would do. This is what I'd recommend, because I'll tell you, because it's exactly what I just did, yesterday evening or 2 evenings ago, which is the carbon kit. Because in here, you have Release Zero, you have NutriKelp, and you have Biospectrum. So you have micronized carbon, you have 24% kelp. So again, both of these are literally like vitamins and things that just do nothing but really improve the quality of the soil, improve nutrient uptake. You have a tiny amount, like 1% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, 4% potassium. So it's a very small amount, just a taste of NPK, and then Biospectrum, which is your microbial package. So this is what I would use. That is what I did on my lawn. Like literally, if you watch my YouTube stories, you already saw this, but literally this picture was taken either yesterday or 2 days before, 2 evenings ago. Let me get this off here so you can actually see, because obviously that's going to be a picture within a picture, which is going to be way too small. That is what I did on my lawn. So what I'm telling you is exactly what I did. So the only other thing you see that's in the background is NutriKelp. That is a microbial, that's a micronutrient product. So that is, we'll come back here. That is, do I have it on the front page? I think I do. Do I? Yep, right here. That is this. So all of this is a bit of iron, manganese, zinc, boron, copper, like all the micronutrients, the stuff it's in the smallest amounts, the bottom of your soil test results. That's what this product is. Again, no NPK. The only NPK, or I should say no material amounts of NPK. The only NPK that you're really doing with what I am suggesting is 1% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, and a bit of potassium. So that is, if you want something you can do now, that is what I would recommend. When the middle of March rolls around, when the lawn begins greening up, you can use your liquid fertilizer of choice, your call, whatever you want to use. This season, I'm going out with Release Zero, with 901C, which is essentially Release Zero with fertilizer in it. So this is what I'm going to be using as my liquid fert. Another great option is Turfplex. So it's kind of your choice which way you want to go, but this is what I'm going to be running with this season, at least for the start of it. So either of these, Turfplex is a great choice, and 901C is a great choice. But as far as something you could do like today, this weekend, or next week, whenever you got it in, if you ordered it, this is what I would recommend. If you're really trying to be like crazy, like super hardcore, you can also put a little bit of Zolve in there as well with it. And that is all I would do until the grass is actively growing. That's all I would do. There's gonna be plenty of time. I promise. Be plenty of time to put nitrogen in your lawn. I promise. And again, the triple 10, I'm sure it works for Doc. You can probably do that and be okay, but I would prefer just to wait until the lawn is actively growing. I haven't checked out his videos lately to see what his lawn is looking like. I guess I could check one out after the live stream. If his lawn is largely greening up already, then that makes sense. But if it's not greening up yet, I respectfully would not do that just yet. I would do that a couple of weeks from now. But here's the thing to keep in mind too, guys. Here's the thing you have to realize too. Doc is a YouTuber, so him talking about the triple 10 is he's making the content now, and not everybody's watching it the day the video is released. So people like only, here's the thing, you guys may not realize this, and here's the thing, it was a shock to me too. So we can have a group talk here. Not everybody is crazy into their grass and into their lawns like we are. I know. I was shocked by it too. So when mid-March rolls around, when the rest of the general public realizes that they have a lawn and they want to fertilize it and they want it to look nice, and they go to YouTube and says how to go get green grass, that video will come up. And at that point, it is good advice, because by then their lawn is starting to turn green, and a 1010 fast release is going to get your lawn green faster. But for the people that are on here now, I would not do that right now. I would wait until mid-March, until your lawn is greening up. If you want to do something, the carbon kit is a good choice. I would not do the a 1010 at this stage of the game. So hopefully that helps. And hopefully the why behind it helps. And again, the reason why Doc is doing that, I get it, because he's getting front load. He's getting a little bit ahead on the content, because people are going to watch this stuff. The bulk of the views are not going to come now. They're going to come a couple of weeks from now. All right. Next up is Miles Blaine says, what are your thoughts on forgoing propiconazole to treat dollar spot and just pushing it out with some nitrogen? That is what I would recommend, Miles. I'm not sure if it were you with the question on propiconazole or on dollar spot, or someone else that was talking about dollar spot. But if you were listening to my answer, that's what I said. Really, in a healthy Bermuda lawn, where the soil nutrient levels are where they should be, you really shouldn't have problems with dollar spot being a huge problem. If the lawn is getting enough nitrogen, then Bermuda normally doesn't have big problems with it. It's more summer patch and large patch that are our thing. Or if you are doing crazy amounts of watering, like I did an experiment last year, you can end up with Pythium. But the Pythium is, in my case, in that test, was completely self-inflicted, because I was watering every day just to see what would happen. So long short, I can save you the answer. Don't do that. And as far as dollar spot, yeah, you can if you want to. If you have a really bad dollar spot outbreak and you want to put some propiconazole on it, sure. If it were me, I would lean more towards just waiting until the grass is growing well, which again you have dollar spots, so I guess your grass is already growing, and just giving it some nitrogen and just seeing how it responds to that. And then if you want to follow it up with some propiconazole afterwards, by all means, that is what I would do. Good question. Okay, Imo Low is here. He says, my Costco is selling worm castings by the bag. I'm going to use it for tomatoes, buy a bunch and put it on the turf. You could, but worm cast. Here's the thing: the amount of email I get, Imo Low, from people that have worm castings just naturally developing in their lawn, and thinking it's a problem. It's substantial. A lot of people think they confuse that for an issue. It's actually a good sign. It shows that your soil is pretty healthy, and there's good stuff happening beneath the surface. As far as using it on the lawn, sure, if you want to. I've never had the need to do that. But it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt anything to do that. So it's your call. If you've got a way to get a bunch of it, which with Costco they do big everything, right? So if you've got a bunch left over after you feed your tomato garden and you want to put some on the lawn, sure. Why not? It's not gonna hurt anything. Okay, Donna Hales is here. She says, I got my soil test results back. My iron is 0.76, stocked up with the carbon kit and Lebanon Turf Country Club for the season. Will I need to add something to get the iron up? Yeah, so that's a good question, Donna. So as far as iron, you got a couple of options. So this is a case where Turfplex is a better choice than 901C. So the one thing with Turfplex is that it has some iron in it. This product right here that I'm showing you, this has iron. But if you didn't want to use this and you had another liquid fert, or you said you want to, you use 901C, then a good option for adding iron is to go with Nutrizol. Like, this is literally all micronutrient. It's all micronutrient. This has iron, it has zinc, manganese, molybdenum, zinc, copper. It has all the micros in one product. So this is something that if, say, you were using you didn't have a liquid fert, like say you're going to do what I'm going to be doing for the first part of the season, right? Which is to use Nutrizol along with 901C. You could use Nutrizol to get your iron levels up, and then you can mix it a small amount with like 901C, which is what I'm going to be using for my liquid fert. And then you're good. You're covered as far as iron goes. Or another option again is Turfplex. That's another option as well to get iron down. So just depends on which way you want to go. All of these mix with the carbon kit with no problem. So as far as mixing 901C, it's obviously going to work well because it basically is release zero with fertilizer. Nutrizol mixes well with it, no problems, and Turfplex also mixes well with it, no problem. So these three products, Turfplex, 901C, and Nutrizol, I can assert I can definitely tell you that without any reservation that those will all mix nicely together with not going to be any issues at all. So it's kind of your choice which way you want to go. Go with Nutrizolve. Grab some Nutrizolve and just roll with that. If you just want that as your micronutrient that also has iron. The nice thing with going with the Nutrizolve route is that it still gives you an option, right? You can go with 901C for your liquid fert, or you could go Turfplex as well. So either way works. But if all you're trying to do is just address iron, then Nutrizolve is a better choice because you're not having to add NPK along with it. So hopefully that helps. Great question. Good job on getting the soil test done, by the way. You said your pH is 6.5. P and K and S are also a bit low. Yeah, those will over time, once you start feeding the lawn, those will come up. 6.5 pH is good to go. That's in the Goldilocks zone, so you're nothing to worry about there. And yeah, like I said, I gave you some good advice on Nutrizolve, and I think you'll be in good shape. Again, all that stuff at the golf course lawn store. Again, great job of getting a soil test. And again, for anyone that has not is saying, soil testing, what's the big hubbub? Why should I do that? And what's how can I save some money on getting one? Now until the middle of next month, if you use the discount code STARTSPRINGRIGHT, that's a discount code that I chose to go with because I believe in soil testing that much, at least in the springtime. Then you can save 10% at the golf course lawn store right here on any of the MySoil test kits. So if you put this, I'll put it in the chat for you guys so you can see it. And again, if you're watching this later after the fact, just check in the show notes in the description. This code will be in there too. And again, it's only good until for a couple more weeks into March, but that will save you some money on a soil test kit. So definitely take advantage of that if you're not like Donna and have not done your soil tests yet, which you should. Okay, Dane Chansey is back. He says, hey, from Georgia, Bethlehem, Winder area, new Bermuda, South Red Clay, new house. Please help me get real mowing soon. Okay, I already got you, Dane. I think I've answered it a couple times, so I think you're good to go. You've got a plan of action with some milestones going forward, so good. Well, good to go. And let us know if you have any other issues. Higgy pops in the house. Says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Thank you for the feedback on my soil test results. You are very welcome, sir. I'm glad it was helpful. Have a great weekend. I appreciate it. Yeah, and one thing I'm going to do this weekend too, didn't mention that, is because it's the end of February and really March, it's close enough to the end of February to early March that I'm going to get my Essential G down because we're going to have rain on Monday. And you guys know me, rain equals free watering. And given that we're going to have a bunch of rain, it's a great time to put down my Essential G, get that done, get my March application done, and I'm good to go. I don't have to worry about it, right? Get it down. So that's going to be my thing to do tomorrow, maybe early tomorrow morning before karate. That's what I'll get up and go do because again, Sunday going to be a bunch of rain. Okay, next up is Robert Mahoris in the house. He says, just checking in. The first thing I do is push the like button. See, I like that. That's the kind of support. That's the kind of support we're talking about, Robert. And again, for any of you guys that are here, our likes are looking pretty good. But if any of you guys have just recently joined and you want to support the channel in a way that costs you absolutely nothing, you can't beat free. All you got to do is move your mouse and just click like. Something you can do. I'd really appreciate it. It's a great way to support the channel. And again, it costs you absolutely nothing other than a mouse click. Okay, Thin Cut is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I had the inaugural run with my new Earthway 2050. Isn't it nice? Sweet piece. It's pretty sweet, right? It did a great job. Thank you for your recommendation. I'm telling you, man, the 2050 is money. Like as far as like price point for what you get. And again, I'm not sponsored by Earthway. They don't pay me to say this or anything like that. It's a really good product. As far as like what I consider to be a very good prosumer product, it's not overly large. And so it's not difficult to store in your garage. And because it's considered a prosumer product, if you go out and you look at like fungicides or any of like your more premium fertilizers, like anything from Miramichi Green or anything from Lebanon Turf, you're going to have settings or spreader settings for that spreader on the bag. If you have a Scotch spreader, those will still work fine, but you're going to be going through conversion charts and this kind of thing to get it to work, right? So this is just something to keep in mind. If you're in the market for another spreader, something to consider. The Earthway 2050 is a nice one. It's a good one. It's the one that I recommend. Okay, Flippin' While Sippin' says, hey Ron, what's your thoughts on the Anderson's products? I've never used any of them, so I can't really levy an opinion. I can say that people that like them, that use them, seem to like them. And that's all I can really say. But I've never used any of their products to be able to form an opinion on them, so can't really comment, unfortunately. Okay, Papa Mo's Low says, "Hey, Ron, joining late due to no internet. That stinks. You know, that's one of my fears. It's going to happen eventually, right? Because given enough time, like everything's going to happen, right? Like no internet. That's one of my things is saying two things. One, power going out. Don't let that happen now. Or internet going down. Which you guys have been through that before. You guys have been on a live stream with me before where the internet went out and I literally had to tether, use my phone as my internet connection, and it worked okay. It wasn't great. It worked okay. But yeah, those are my big things. As far as power, like I've got a pretty good UPS here that to where the lights and the camera, at least this main light will stay on, but we'd have about 15 minutes of live stream for everything turns off. So, but yeah. And you said, was told they might be extending the sale. Yeah, so I don't know on that, Papa Mo's Low. If depending on, on drivers, if they can get drivers into the springtime, because that was their issue with last year, then if they're going to be extending it, then yeah, maybe in April there might be a play as far as getting a discount on the products. All I can say is that I know that until February 28th, if you use the code or use the link that I have put in the chat, if you use that, you will save $30 off of a bag of level lawn mix. So it just depends. But you're right. I mean, depending on if they've got the logistics worked out to where they can get people to drive the trucks, then they might do another a sale in the spring. I know last year it kind of caused an issue because it's just people buy the stuff, but then getting someone to deliver it can become the challenge. And again, for anyone watching this after the fact, I will have the link for the top dressing discount in the description of the live stream. And for any of you guys that are here now, you guys have already seen it a couple times, but I'll just post it one more time just because. Why not? Right? So there you go. Okay, next up, and I appreciate that, Papa Mo's Low. I appreciate you checking in, even though it was late and because internet was out. Okay, Eric B is here. He says, so Ron, something with biochar or etc. or any nutrient enhancer without high nitrogen can be used to balance pH while in dormancy. I believe your answer was to a prior question. Yes, a good point. So the biochar that Miramichi Green uses in Essential G and also in Carbon Pro G is charged biochar. So what does that mean? It means that it attempts to find equilibrium or balance around the mid sixes. So while it's not like applying lime to your lawn, it can help to bring the pH down in higher alkaline soils, and it can help to raise the pH in lower alkaline soils, again, trying to achieve that mid-6 balance. They actually did a study where they sent some of it out to, I want to say it was North Carolina, like North Carolina State, like their ag program did a study of it, and they saw a movement of like a full point in like 4 weeks with Carbon Pro G. So it's just there's the same biochar that's in that product is the same stuff they use in Essential G, which is like the newer product, the newer version of Carbon Pro G. So yeah, so that there is something to that as far as it being able to draw pH to the mid sixes. So yeah, if that's what you're talking about, there is some truth to that. There's a paper somewhere. If you want, send me an email. I can send you where it is. I can send it to you so you can review it if you would like. But yes, that there is truth to that. Eric B. Okay, Robert says, so this morning I got out after a drizzle and fog overnight night, walked on the turf and saw spidery webs 2 inches in diameter and nothing flying. Saw webworms, fungus. I'm stumped. It could be dollar spot, Robert. It could be dollar spot. I personally wouldn't sweat it. Like on my lawn in the middle, and when it comes to be springtime, in the morning when I wake up and I go out and look at the lawn, in a few spots, not all over the place, a few, like you'll see like what look like little spider webs, like what you're describing. And by mid-morning, by like 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, it burns off, goes away. I don't really have issues with dollar spot causing any damage to my lawn. So again, in warm season turf, like Bermuda, if your soil nutrient levels are where they're supposed to be and the lawn is getting enough nitrogen, dollar spot typically is not a problem. It's typically not an issue that you have to spray propiconazole for. In extreme cases, sure, but in most lawns that are healthy, meaning again, they have enough nitrogen and you're cutting them with sharp equipment where you're not doing things that are going to make it easier for disease to become a problem, you shouldn't need to treat for dollar spot in Bermuda. So hopefully that helps. I wouldn't worry about it. Give it some more time as temps warm up and you begin feeding it. It should become less of an issue. Okay, Jason says, that's funny because some lawn personalities claim dormant Bermuda grass absorbs 50 to 60% of your pre-emergent and claim granular is the best pre-emergent. Okay. Sure. Okay, I guess. But no, just if you put down granular pre-emergent and you water it in, it's going to work fine. If you put down liquid pre-emergent and you water it in, it's going to be fine. It's going to work. Here's why, Jason. Okay, the lawns in my neighborhood, that like most of them that have lawn care services, the lawn care services do not use granular pre-emergent. They use liquid because from a cost perspective and a time perspective, it's just not efficient for them to go that route. They all use liquid. The 90% of the people, 98% of the people in this neighborhood, so outside of Alex, myself, and like a handful of a few other people, do not really care about their lawns like the way we do. They don't put down pre-emergent. They don't literally plan their pre-emergent around like rainfall, or if there's no rainfall, they don't plan their pre-emergent or fertilizer apps and then run irrigation immediately after. Most people assume if they're paying for a service that it's just going to work. So I say that to say that because they also don't have shortcut turf, so most of them aren't even scalping their lawns. The lawns that have pre-emergent on them, that have liquid pre-emergent on them, don't have weeds. They just don't. Like, my lawn doesn't have any weeds, but also the other lawns in the neighborhood that are longer, that aren't baby, that don't get all the treatment that my lawn gets. If they put pre-emergent on it, they don't have weeds in their lawn. And their grass is a lot taller. So, I don't know who says that it claims that it eats up like 60% of your but it's absorbed 50-60% of it is absorbed by the Bermuda. But if you just logically think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So it doesn't make a lot of sense that would be the case. And let's put it this way. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's assume that it is absorbed 50-60% by the grass, which it's not, but let's say that were the case. Then it's obviously been accounted for in the formulation and in the rates, because the lawns that have liquid pre-emergent on them do not grow weeds versus lawns that do not have liquid pre-emergent on them or any kind of pre-emergent. So granular works, liquid works. If you apply them properly, you water them in, or in a lot of cases, you put down a liquid pre-emergent and you don't even bother watering it in, because most people around here don't do it, or they just wait for rain. You're not going to have weeds in your lawn, or you're going to have a lot reduced amount of weeds in your lawn. So hopefully, we're just kind of talking through it, like you and I sitting down, you're probably having a beer, I'm having a lemonade, and we're just sitting, a couple of guys just kind of talking it out. And just from what I've seen from other lawns in the neighborhood, it doesn't make sense that granular is that much superior to liquid, in the sense that if you do liquid, you're wasting your money. Doesn't make sense. Okay, next up, we have Lawn Mentor says, hey, Ron, just dropping by. Excited to see your lawn wake up this season. Thanks for that, Lawn Mentor. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. I appreciate the support. And then Jason T says, what kind of nighttime temps do you have right now, Ron? Let us see. What kind of, I think in the 50s. Right now it's 47 degrees. It's 47 degrees is my low right now. That's the low light temps. And then tomorrow it's supposed to be 64 degrees. So as you can tell, like the trend is definitely getting towards cooler. That's where I am. All right, next up is Lance F. I think you already said this, but we're going to say it again. He says, happy Friday. I always look forward to this evening. Yeah, buddy. I look forward to you guys coming to hang out, Lance. So I appreciate that as always. Next, your nightmare is back. It says, hey, Ron, Bermuda in New Mexico. I just need to make sure I understand. I am overseeding a new lawn put in last year, and I do not want to put down pre-emergent on it, correct? Yeah, so I guess two things. Well, I can gloss over this, but we should go over it anyway. I guess what is the reason, why are you overseeding is, do you have parts of the lawn that I guess were damaged, or the sod didn't take, or you're doing a renovation or something like that? If that's the case and you're planning to put down seed, you're doing a renovation, then sure. In both cases, the answer is getting the grass to germinate, if germination is your main goal, do not put down pre-emergent, because you're going to be working against yourself by doing that. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. So every year my lawn has had pre-emergent, other than last year, and that was because whenever I had the trees taken out and I used at the time was Princess 77 to fix the areas to get grass to grow in the areas, because the sod they put in just didn't match. So again, I would say this: the best way to fix bare spots in your lawn, and you want to be absolutely guaranteed that it's gonna match, is to use a plugger. It's going to look ugly. It's going to take a little bit longer, but that is a way to definitely ensure that the spot that was filled in is going to match perfectly with the existing turf. Even if you do sod, so even if your lawn is like Tifway 419 and you go with Tifway 419 sod, it's not necessarily going to match well. Like I had 2 areas where Tifway 419 was put in on my lawn and it didn't match. And I said, well, this sticks out like a sore thumb. So that's when I went in with seeding. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. Your nightmare, if it's just that you are doing a renovation, you're going to be seeding the entire thing anyway. Sure. But if it's just to seed the lawn just for seeding's sake, unless there's some problem that you're trying to solve, I really don't recommend it, because it's for one, most people don't realize the amount of irrigation that it takes to grow your Bermuda, that it takes to grow Bermuda grass seed from seed. It takes a lot. So it's an expensive process, not from really the seed, from just the watering requirements to make it work out well. And you didn't say what kind of Bermuda you have, but unless you are careful about the seed you're going with and your existing grass, the two of them can look a bit different. Tifway 419 and Arden 15 look fairly well. They match fairly well together, but that might not be the case for other Bermuda types. And I don't know what kind of seed you're using. You didn't say, but that's something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that they match well when you start going down that route. Okay. Something to keep in mind, but the answer to your question that you did ask is pre-emergent. No, if your goal is to seed, do not use pre-emergent, because again, you're just working against yourself. And you're saying, and also, what is your recommendation for grass growth underneath large cottonwood trees? It's not going to grow. I mean, you can try it, but like definitely not Bermuda. If you're trying to grow grass under a tree, your best bet is going to be some kind of a fescue, some kind of a cool season grass that doesn't require as much sunlight. Like Bermuda is literally the worst grass to choose if you are trying to grow it in the shade. If you have any kind of shade issues, Bermuda is like the worst grass to choose. Zoysia is a bit better. The fescues are even better, are much better than Bermuda or Zoysia. So if you say this large cottonwood tree, I wouldn't go with Bermuda. If that's what you're trying to do with your seeding project, I'm going to save you a bunch of time and money and frustration now. Don't bother with Bermuda. The rule I tend to give people is this: if grass is not growing in an area of your lawn now, you need to figure out why. Because putting down seed is not going to magically make grass grow there. So like in the case of Bermuda, which is like literally, if you stand in one spot too long during the day, the Bermuda starts complaining. Like the shadow you cast from standing in one spot. I'm kidding, of course, but I'm just trying to highlight like how much Bermuda hates shade. Where I'm going with this is that if it's not growing right now under the cottonwood tree, it's not going to grow when you put seed down. So again, some kind of a fescue would be my choice, would be my recommendation, something like that. Or I don't know how big the area is, or what you're dealing with. I don't have pictures. You may end up just having to do mulch or pine straw, or do some kind of like ornamental decoration thing around the trees instead of trying to grow grass there, because it's grass needs sunlight, and Bermuda especially needs a lot of sunlight. It probably has, I can't think of a grass type that has higher light requirements to really do well than Bermuda. So hopefully that helps. And based on what you're describing, Bermuda is not going to be the best choice for under that cottonwood tree. Okay, next up is Tim Jackson. He says, hey, I have a buddy that's super at my golf club. He's going to let me take plugs of ultra dwarf Bermuda from his nursery this summer. That's cool. Is any thoughts with your huge lawn to mess with a green? I thought about it, Tim, but it's just, here's the thing. It's too much work, man. Like, so last year, I tried maintaining the lawn at just under half an inch. Bermuda at just under half an inch sounds like a really great idea, and it looks cool. It looks awesome. However, during the summer months, what that means is literally when the sun comes up every morning, I was waking up at like 6:30 in the morning, and I was out there mowing so I could be done before 8, so I could get inside, shower up, get in front of my computer, and get to work. So literally during the summer months, with plant growth regulator, I might add, I was mowing the lawn every day for it to still look nice at those lower heights of cut. So a golf green is going to require that same kind of treatment. You think about it, most golf courses cut the greens every day. Some courses, they cut the greens twice a day. They cut them morning and in the evening. They cut them like more than once. So to have a green, I would not want to go and put one in and have it look crappy. And I just don't have the time to put into mowing that much, because literally I'd have to mow it like every single day. Like this year, I'm going to be at like 0.62 to 0.75 as far as my how to cut. I can mow every other day in the middle of summer with that, no problem. With a green, it's going to be every day, no matter what. Like every day, you got to do it to keep it looking nice. And that's a big commitment. It's a big commitment. So not yet. Someday, maybe. I'm never going to say never, but not at this point. I don't want to do a green. So, but definitely let me know. Keep me posted on how how it works on your lawn. It's really cool if the super is giving you some dwarf Bermuda, and yeah, let us know. Send me pictures once it starts going in as far as how it develops. Okay, next we have Oladipupo Uditayo says, hello, Ron. I'm looking to buy coastal herbicide. Do I need to apply surfactant with the mix? Thanks. No, you do not. Just coastal, water, if you want, a bit of marker dye so you can see where you sprayed, and that's it. I have a video on coastal. Pretty sure I do. Actually, I know I do. I've got like a couple of videos on coastal, but like got one. The one you're going to want to watch is this one from last year. This one right here, which I will put in the chat for you, and I'll call it coastal video. So at Ola, let's see here. At Olad, there we go. And there you go. So this is coastal video. That one right there. Check out that video. That will show you how to mix it, like rates, explain the products and everything like that. Here's the thing with coastal. I have heard rumors that they are they're looking to discontinue the 64 ounce. That's what I was told. So if you were going to try that, if you want to use that, get it now, because I don't know if when it sells out, you're going to be easily be able to find it anywhere else. I mean, there's going to be places around that will have it in stock, I'm sure. But as far as them actively trying to like keep making more of it, I've heard that that's not going to be a thing, at least in the smaller one. And if you've not gotten it yet, Ola, I'll give you also a link here. That is for coastal herbicide. So no surfactant necessary, just a well-calibrated spray, a well-calibrated backpack sprayer, and that's it. Water and maybe some marker dye. That's all you need. Okay, Adrian M says, I applied prodiamine in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on Bermuda at the maximum annual rate. By mistake, walked too slow a week ago. Should I be worried? So you applied it at the maximum annual rates of 0.83-ish or so. No, you'll be fine. I mean, if you're certain that that's the rate you actually put down, you should be okay. Last year, again, as an experiment, Alex and we did max rate on his lawn just to see what would happen, just to make sure, just as a test. We did it actually early in the season too, so it was like late. It was like early February. I have to look at the video, but it was really, really early in the season. And the results on his lawn were great. I mean, his lawn did really well. He didn't have any weed pressure until the fall, which is awesome. It's all you can ask for. One application, it worked very, very well. Keep in mind though, he also mows a ton. So that also coupled with the pre-emergent, is why he didn't have problems with weeds in his lawn. So Adrian, the thing I would say is if you've not, consider calibrating your backpack sprayer. I know it sounds like it's a hard thing to do, but I promise you it's not. It literally takes 5 minutes to do. Well, depending how fast you are, it takes 5 minutes to know what your walking rate will be, and then a couple of sessions of just practicing with just water in the sprayer to ensure that you're putting it down at the correct rate. And I have a video here that I will send to you that shows you how to do that process, or how I do it. There's a couple ways of doing it, but this is how I like to do it. Mainly because stopping at exactly a gallon when the sprayer is running flat out is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Let's see, Adrian M. There we go. And that's the video on calibrating a sprayer. So take a look at that, and that should help you out. So the next time you apply pre-emergent, it will go down at the proper rate. Okay. Next, we have Botros Marzuk. He says, thank you, Ron, for being so thorough when explaining things. I try, man. I try my best to try and do that. As far as, I try my best to try and give the best explanation I can without being like going way over the top, just so you understand the why. I could just tell you, if you ask me, what should I put on my lawn right now, as far as something I can do that can help with green up, and I can tell you, just go buy the carbon kit. And you might just blindly go out and just go buy the carbon kit. But it's better if I tell you the why behind it. If I tell you don't go put down like a heavy nitrogen app on your lawn now, if he says, hey, should I like do humic max on my lawn now when it's still dormant, I'm going to tell you no. I could just say no. I mean, it'd be beneficial for me to tell you yes, right? Because then I make money from it. But the right answer is no. You need to wait until the grass is growing before you really start feeding the lawn a diet of nitrogen. So I think the why behind it is important, because then you become smarter. And then when people in your neighborhood ask you, hey, if I do XYZ, why should I do it or should I not do it? Then you're able to give a really good answer, and the knowledge kind of spreads around. Everyone gets better, right? So that's why. Okay, so next is Eric. He says, post-emergent spot treatment time post-emergent spot treatment time to treat after or before pre-emergent or other fertilizer, biostimulant, etc. Thanks again. Let me read that again. So post-emergent spot treatment time, okay, after or before pre-emergent or other products like biostimulants. Okay, so I guess the question, if you're asking, is the timing between pre-emergent and biostimulants. Like say you're doing like the carbon kit, right? And you are doing like Essential G, and you are doing pre-emergent, but then you have weeds already in your lawn. You want to take care of them. If you need to stagger those or anything. No, not really. So the only thing I would say is that if you're going to do a post-emergent, most post-emergent herbicides, like something like, let's say you have warm season grass, like Celsius or Certainty, or Triad, the labels pretty much all recommend that you do not water immediately after application. So you spray, you target the weeds that you're trying to get rid of, and then you let it sit on the weeds for a couple of days. Like longer is better. They say 2 days, but even longer is better than that. So if it were me, what I would do is I would do your pre-emergent. I would do your pre-emergent, water that in, and then go after your existing weeds with whatever post-emergent you decide you want to use. As far as the biostimulant products like Essential G or the carbon kit, doesn't matter. You can do those at any time. Those don't matter as far as this goes. But as far as pre-emergent, post-emergent, I would do the pre now because we want to get it down now, and then water that in because it requires being watered in to begin working, and then do your post-emergent afterwards, and then don't water that in because it needs to sit on the weeds leaf to kill it. So that's the only thing I'd say. Only got you. So good question. That's a good one. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Let me see here. Eric B says, let's see here. Eric B says, no, I already answered that question. Did I miss anything else? Yeah, Kevin D is asking, is going after, is talking to LG. And then someone was asking about a stress blend at 1010. There is no 1010 stress blend. There's a 1212, but there's at least from the stuff that's on the store, but there's no 1010. So if you're looking for a 1212, if you go to the golf course lawn store, Think Money, you'll be able to see that there. There's not a 1010 on there. I can actually show you super quick. Let me go over here. We can scroll over. If you look at, do I have it on here? It's under liquid fertilizer. So go to, under fertilizer. So go to the store, go to lawn fertilizer, and under there, you will see the starter fert, this guy here, which is a 1212, not a 1010. But it's a good product. Should work well for whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you're right. Thanks, Eric. No problem. You're very, very welcome. And then next up is Justin Aguilar. He says, just wanted to thank you for all your videos and the live streams. I calibrated my Flow Zone backpack sprayer this morning. Applause. High five for that, sir. Awesome. I just can't wait to use Turfplex this year. Very good. And that's a good thing, man. It's having your sprayer calibrated. It means that whenever you decide you're going to put it down at 6 ounces per thousand or whatever rate you decide to go with, you're actually going to be applying it at that rate. So good job getting your sprayer calibrated. It wasn't that bad, right, Justin? It wasn't nearly as bad as people try and make it out to be as far as the process, right? And now you can spray with confidence, which is always a good thing. And I appreciate you. Thanks, no problem about the live stream and videos. I appreciate you guys watching. It's a labor of love. It's something that I enjoy doing. That is not work. It's not karate. It's it's my thing. It's my wusa, my zen thing. So thank you guys for being a part of it. Ben Raham says, seeing green shoots of Bermuda greening up in Sugar Hill, scalped last weekend, paid off. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, with scalping, and again, there's a lot of talk around scalping. You do not have to scalp your lawn. So any of you guys here that are watching are thinking, man, I don't want to scalp. I watched that video. It looks like a ton of work, because it is. And you decide you don't want to do that. What you're really getting out of scalping is, one, you are cleaning out a lot of dead material that's in the lawn. And you do get the lawn to green up a bit sooner. So 2 to 3 weeks in some cases, depending on temperatures and health of the soil and all these types of things. That is what you're getting with scalping. If you're really trying to be super hardcore, trying to be Captain Hardcore, again, you'll get the reference if you watch tomorrow morning's video. Then scalping and then maybe even doing a light verticut, like to really clean things out, really thin things out, is going to help the lawn green up sooner. It's going to help it. It's just going to help it come back really, really healthy. So I'm glad to hear that it's working out well for you, Ben, and I can't wait to hear, as your lawn develops throughout the season, how it continues to do, which is awesome. All right, Scott R is here late to the game, but on topic for pre-em rotation. Tyler's question: pendimethalin, prodiamine, dithiopyr are all group 3. If you're going to rotate the mode of action. So there's our Scott's thoughts. So I guess when I'm rotating, I'm just rotating between products because typically it's either prodiamine and dithiopyr, or I will do, I'll have my buddy sometime come out and put down and spray in Dazaflam, so Spectacle Flow, the active ingredient in Spectacle Flow. In his program, what he does on lawns, he doesn't use prodiamine. He uses dithiopyr and Spectacle Flow. That's what he uses. Spectacle Flow in the fall and dithiopyr in the spring. That's what he bounces back and forth. So thanks, Scott. Thanks for chiming in. Appreciate that, sir. Troy Ridley's up next. Says, hi, Ron. I was able to pre-scalp the full yard down to 1 inch with a rotary a day before our third freeze. Of course, you're in Texas. Of course, because the entire state of Texas froze, apparently. Our third freeze here in Central Texas, Bermuda. Sorry to hear that. High to cut this season is going to be 1.5 inches. Barricades Sunday after freeze. Okay, yes. So you already scalped. Good job. And then once things warm up a little bit, you're on a warming trend. Then you're going to do your prodiamine, your pre-emergent. Sounds good. Sounds good, Troy. Sorry you're dealing with the cold weather, but yeah, there you go. All right, and then next up we have Andrew Boleski saying, if it loads, yeah. Hey Ron, just popping in, getting excited for the green up here in Athens. Go Dogs! Yeah, man, go Dogs! I like it. Yeah, man. So across the entire state, I'm sure we're gonna have a good green up here, especially if you scalped and you're taking care of your lawn and soil's in great shape. No reason why your lawn should not green up sooner than the neighbors. So that's really what you're after, right? I mean, let's be real. The reason why we scalp and everything else, yes, it's good to clean out, dead debris and everything, but you want that early green up. You want to be the first kid on the block with the lawn turning green. We are a bit of a vain bunch, aren't we? Right? When it comes to our grass, I'll admit it. Okay, and then your nightmare. I think we went through this, but yes, I would not do Bermuda. You said, what do you recommend to plant underneath a big old root of a cottonwood trees with this best bare soil, dapple sun and clay-based soil? So again, it's if you can get any kind of grass to grow there, a fescue is likely to be your best bet. Bermuda is not going to grow in the conditions that you're suggesting, and really, if no grass is growing there. Again, your lawn probably doesn't have fescue, but fescue would be my last ditch effort for getting grass to go there. If not, then maybe some, like small shrubs, monkey grass or something like that, something you can put in there, maybe some pine straw or mulch, making a mulch bed. That's an option too, but grass needs sunlight. There's a reason why there's no grass there right now, unfortunately. Sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you, but again, I don't want you to throw a bunch of time and money after something that's kind of unlikely to work. Masama Blue is back. What's going on, man? Hey, Ron, happy Friday. Going to attempt PGR this year on 5,000 square feet section of my 1-inch Kentucky bluegrass. Can you refresh me on what to use and any precautions I could take to reduce yellowing or damage? Yeah, so mixing a little bit of nitrogen with and iron, so like something like Turfplex is a good choice, or 901C with Nutrizolve, also good choice. Those will help with the tip burn or yellowing that you get, the light tip burn, light yellowing you get from plant growth regulator. Again, this is highly, in my opinion, highly overinflated. Like if your lawn was like super green, it's not going to look like it's dormant. It is going to look, what it will look like is if you mowed your lawn with like a dull reel mower, and like how the lawn still looks decent, but it's just going to look, like the green is not really popping. That's what it will look like. And it's a temporary thing. So if you do that, if you don't do anything, let's say you just put PGR down, right? You just put down a plant growth regulator. What you will see 2 to 3 days after application is a bit of tip burn, a slight bit of yellowing. Once you mow the lawn, the first time you mow it, that's going to go away and the lawn's going to look great going forward. So really it's only a short-term problem. The way to prevent it or to take the edge off of that is to use a liquid fertilizer with a bit of iron, a little bit of nitrogen in it. Again, not even full application rate. So if you were going with, say, 901C or Turfplex, like Turfplex rate is like 6 ounces per thousand. If you're mixing with PGR just to prevent the tip burn issue, I would go at like 3 ounces. If you're going with 901C, like 2 ounces, like a low rate with a bit of Nutrizolve in there, and you're going to be absolutely fine. The thing I would tell you with PGR is, one, make sure you've calibrated your backpack sprayer. And by that, I mean, you know that you are putting down the application rate that you think you're putting down over 1,000 square feet. So for, what do you have? You have perennial ryegrass. For perennial ryegrass, the rate is higher than Bermuda. Bermuda, it's like 1/4 of an ounce per thousand. That's the safe rate. And I want to say for perennial rye, it's closer to 1/2 an ounce. I want to say that's a bit higher. I can look here really quick and tell you. I can look real quick and tell you. Let's see. But yes, you're going to want, the big thing is stick to the rate. Do not go heavier and try and think, oh, a little bit more is going to help things or make things better. It's going to make things worse. So with plant growth regulator, more is not better. Go with the rate that's on the label. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find this quickly for you. Mazama, you have perennial ryegrass. Yeah, I don't see it really here. So with Primo, it's saying 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet for perennial ryegrass. Let me check here the rates for Bermuda. Yeah, I'll just put the link here in the chat. Yeah, that's because the rate for Bermuda is correct. That is the rate for yeah. So if you look, so we'll go here. We'll go for a ride here really quick, and I'll show you the label. So let's scroll down, cut over. So for perennial ryegrass, can you see the screen? I have to get my face out of the way. If we scroll, and we're scrolling, and we're scrolling, and we find this chart. Okay, so for perennial ryegrass, it's saying 1 ounce from perennial ryegrass per 1,000 square feet. If your first time you want to go lighter, like you want to go 3/4 of an ounce or something like that, you want to back it off a little bit, you can do that just to see how it does. If you don't want to go at the full rate, the full max rate, this looks good because I know for Bermuda the rate is this. It's 1/4. Let me get down here. For Bermuda grass, for your common, it's we'll see for Primo it's showing higher rates, and then for hybrid it's showing 1/4 of an ounce. So if you're using Primo Max, so this guy here, where is it? This guy here, just go with the rate that's on the label. Go with the rate that's on the label. Your first time, go a bit lower. Go a bit lower. If you want to go 1/2 ounce and just see how the lawn responds to it, that would be fine too. You're just going to get less regulation out of it. So if your first time, if you want to back it down a bit, just go a bit lower. I don't know if you already have PGR, but that's the big thing. Just whatever the label says as far as rate, follow that to the T. Make sure you're using a calibrated sprayer. It is not going to look like a lot. So again, I did this last week. I feel like I'm doing this every week. But for Bermuda grass, this first line right here, which is 1 ounce, that is enough plant growth regulator for 4,000 square feet. So when you measure it out, it's not going to look like a lot, but I promise you that you don't need a lot. Just follow the rate. Make sure you use a calibrated sprayer, and you're going to get a good result. And again, if your first time, if you want, go like back it down a little bit. Go at like 2/3 the rate or half rate or whatever, and just see, make sure that everything looks good, everything is working well, and then the next month you can step the rate up. So you can do it in phases if you want. But I got to warn you, there's life before PGR and there's life after PGR. Once you start using it, you're not going to want to stop. It really is a game changer for mowing, just the way that the turf looks with it. It's awesome stuff. Okay, Dwayne Hopkins says, "Hey Ron, when using your True Cut, and how high is the height of cut set to, based on the selection of predetermined heights, unlike the Green Master? Was this ever an issue for you? One adjustment too high or one too low?" Okay, so because the True Cut is primarily used now for cutting like only certain small areas of the grass of the lawn, and for scalping. For scalping, I literally will like step it down. I'll start high and make it down a notch, and I'll make a pass and look at it. Say, okay, it's not low enough, and I'll just keep stepping it down until it looks the way I want it to look, as far as height goes. And then I'll scalp using that setting. Before I had a AccuGauge, because with a True Cut, it's not really easy to use an AccuGauge on a True Cut. What I would do is I would just I would start high, cut an area, and then just get a ruler out, get down there and measure it and see what it looked like. And that's how I set it up, because every mower is a bit different depending on how the roller is set. Like, a setting of like halfway down on mine is not necessarily going to correspond to the exact same height of cut on yours. And I can almost guarantee it's not going to. Because between like Alex's mower and my mower, like the same setting does not result in the same height of cut between our two mowers. Also, if you have the different roller, it makes a difference too, because he has a solid roller, I have a grooved roller. So with mine, it's going to cut a little bit shorter, a little bit lower, given the same height of cut than a solid roller would. So those are the things you need to keep in mind. I would just say measure, like make a pass or cut an area that you don't really care about too much. Again, start high, measure it, see how it looks, and then you can adjust it that way for the rest of the lawn. With the Greensmaster, you can get it dead nuts. I mean, it's because it's a proper greens mower. You throw your AccuGauge on it, like the height of cut that you set that's your bench height. That's what you're going to get, and then your actual height is going to be a little bit lower than that. So hopefully that helps. And if you're asking if I've ever had an issue where like the set between one notch to the other, it was like an in between, not really. I've never gotten that granular with the True Cut. With the Greensmaster, yeah, you can down to the thousandth you can set it. With the Greensmaster, with the True Cut, it's a bit more coarse, but it still does a great job. So hopefully that helps answer your question. And there we go. All right, Demir says, Madama Blue, use Trinexpac Ethyl 0.60 ounces. I'd go at 3/4 of the rate to start at and bump up from there as the season gets going. Mix in a liquid fert or iron product to help with the tip burn / bronzing. So there you go. And again, this is a man that sprays a lot of this product all over turf that cannot get damaged, over a really, really nice golf course. So go with his setting on Bermuda. I don't have cool season turf, but on Bermuda, I can tell you that 1/4 of an ounce to 0.37 on 0.37 to 0.40, that thereabouts on hybrid for T-Nex or Trinexpac Ethyl works just fine. On Devin's telling you that for cool season, that's the rate to go with. So I would trust what he's saying, use that rate. And again, check to make sure your spray is calibrated, make sure you trust that when you think you're putting down 1,000, you're covering 1,000 square feet, that's what you're really doing. And if you do that, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy it. And you'll look back and just wonder, why did I wait so long to start? Because PGR is awesome. Awesome stuff. Okay, your Nightmare's up next and says, what is your opinion of Ironite? My father swore by it. I've never used it to be able to give an opinion, your Nightmare. There's people that use it that seem to like it, kind of like your daddy. He probably used it and he liked it. Give it a shot and see what kind of results you get. The thing with me is Ironite is just a pure iron product, right? So anytime I apply iron to my lawn, it's usually along with something else. So in the case of my case, I'll be using like Nutrizolve to get my iron if I'm mixing it with 901C, or if I'm using Turfplex that already has iron in it. So it's, as far as applying just a pure iron product, it's not something, I don't think I've ever applied. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever applied just a pure iron product to my lawn. I don't think I've ever done that. Probably the closest a product I used to use before called, I think it's called Brant Supreme Green. That had like 5% iron in it, I believe. So that was a heavier iron app. That's the closest I've ever gotten to almost like a pure iron product. But I've never done just pure iron on my lawn. Mainly because I'm always mixing something else with it for efficiency to save time. So, but give it a shot. Give it a shot, see what you think. There's people that like it. They're still selling it. So people obviously like it and are getting good results with it. I've just never used it to be able to give you an opinion, unfortunately. So there you go. Okay, Tim Jackson says, do you ever adjust, it's a good one, do you ever check and adjust your liquid applications, pH levels with citric acid prior to spraying? So I've heard about this, Tim. No, I've never done that. I've heard some people say that if you have higher pH water, so like more alkaline water, using some citric acid to bring it down to help improve the quality of what you're spraying. I've never done that. I've never done that on my lawn or any of my applications. I've never done that. Then again, I've also never really tested the water that's coming out of the faucet. I would think though it would be within tolerance, right? I wouldn't think that it's going to be highly alkaline because it's like drinking water. So I wouldn't think you should really have to do that. But you're saying in your case you have higher alkaline tap water and you put a little bit of citric acid to help bring it down. I've never done that. I have heard of it being a thing, but I've never done it to know what difference it would make, if any. I guess it's something I could try. I could get some water, test the pH of it, and add a little bit of citric acid and see. I don't know how I would really know what kind of a difference it made, as far as like, is it like a fraction, a bit more green than otherwise? I don't know how I would test to be able to know if it worked or not. But I have heard it. What you're saying is not like a thing that I've never heard of before. I've just never done it. Lost Dog is up and he says, hey, Ron, I like your live stream. I've learned a lot. I put down lime every fall for the last 2 years. I have never done it for 23 years I've been in this house. Should I stop now? The lawn looks great. So Lost Dog, the way to answer that question is a soil test, right? So if you've never done it for 23 years and you started doing it 2 years ago, get a soil test done. Again, they're on sale right now at the Golf Course Lawn Store. The one I recommend is the one here from MySoil. But if you went 23 years without doing any lime apps, and then just in the last 2 years you did a lime app, the way to know if it's making a difference, or just even whether you even need lime, because you may not even need it, right? The way to know is from a soil test. I literally can't tell you whether or not you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing, or you need to be doing more of it, unless you can tell me what your soil pH is. And the way to do that is by using one of these guys. Again, they're on sale right now on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you use the discount code STARTSPRINGRIGHT at checkout, it'll save you 10% on the soil test kits. If you do that, do a soil test, and then you send me an email with them here to ron@golfcourselawn.com, send me an email. I'll look at it and I'll be able to say, Lost Dog, yes, you're doing the right thing by adding lime, or nope, your soil is fine. There's no reason to really do add a lime application. But I can't really answer it, unfortunately, without data. Anything I tell you I'd just be guessing. So hopefully that helps. I can tell you in this area in Georgia, in my area, the lawn care services do tend to do a lime app as part of their program in the fall. But I don't know where you are, if that makes sense or not. So yeah, get a soil test done and send me the results, and we'll figure it out. Next up is Dalen Krause. He says, Ron, I have a McLean 25-inch new last year, so brand new mower. Nice. I don't know if it's we'll call that new. Use some applause for that. It says, I kept my Bermuda at 3/4 of an inch, which is as low as it can go. Okay. As low as the McLean can go? Okay. Should I scalp at 3/4 of an inch, or how would I go about getting lower if the mower can't go lower? I'm surprised that the McLean only goes down to 3/4 of an inch. I would have thought that it would go lower than that, because the True Cut goes like way lower than that. The True Cut you can get down to the dirt. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a setting or way, like a physical adjustment you can make. Like you can adjust a bracket or something that will lower the static height of cut of a McLean to where you can get down lower. I'm surprised you can only go down to 3/4 of an inch with that though. I would have thought that you would have been able to go lower. So I don't know the answer to that. I would check online and see if there's any kind of lowering kits, or if there's a setting or adjustment you can make to lower the height of cut of the McLean. You know what? Let me take that one as a question, because I will ask the nice folks at Real Rollers, like Lee will know, or Andrew, or Eric, or Hayes will know. They will definitely know the answer to that. So lowest height of cut McLean 0.75 inches. That seems high to me. That seems high as far as like the lowest it will go to me. But that might be the case. I'll ask them, and I'll get an answer for you for next week, Dalen. So if you come back in the live stream, whether you're here or not, I'll speak to that on the live stream. So thanks for the question. And I would imagine there's some kind of an adjustment to get it lower than that. I would think so, man. I would think. I can't believe that's the lowest height of cut. But we'll get to the bottom of it. Next up, Adrian says, my heart is with the people of Ukraine. I'll be praying for the country. Thousands are refuging at the borders of Poland and Romania. Yeah, that's the thing, man. We take a lot of what we have in America in our country for granted. Like, for the most part, we live in a fairly peaceful nation. We don't have to worry about Mexico or Canada invading us or anything like that. And you have to realize, like, it's a lot of times we get wrapped around the axle about things that don't really matter in the big scheme of things. Man, imagine if you had to worry about like a rocket coming through your window, like you really wouldn't care about what your grass looked like at that point, right? So yeah, some people really have serious issues, and hopefully it comes to an end soon. They just everyone gets some sense and they just behave and just be nice. You know what I mean? That was what was it was funny. That was one of the things that our late grandmaster said. Like, his words of wisdom. They can say anything they want to say, and he says, you know what? Words of life to live by. It wasn't don't go picking fights. It wasn't train hard. It wasn't anything like that. It was be nice. Just be nice to people. Like, just be a person that's just in general just nice. In general, you get along better in life if you're not a jerk. If you're not a difficult person. So, yeah, I'm with you on that, Adrian. All right, and next up we see what else we have here. We have No Name. I see you guys are talking about some of the other YouTubers and some things back and forth about what they're saying about grass and this kind of thing. I mean, I will say this. If liquid pre-emergent is 50% absorbed by the grass, if that's the case, as I said earlier, it doesn't matter as far as the results that you get, if that makes sense. Okay, so if that is the case, to where it's formulated and literally 50% of it is absorbed by the grass, the net result is that a granular and a liquid pre-emergent perform equally if applied properly. So it's not like if you do liquid, you're creating some cardinal sin, because literally all the surfaces around here, when they're down pre-emergent, they're using liquids, not granular. I don't really care either way. I don't have an opinion either way, but I don't want people to think that one is inferior to the other from a standpoint of the results you will get if they are both applied properly. The only real negative is that granular is just more expensive per application than liquid. That is true. But as far as like the results in the big scheme of things, doesn't matter if you do them correctly. Okay, No Name says compliments of the neighbors behind me. Their trees have destroyed a ton of my grass in the backyard. Shade, right? That shade life. It is real. I'm trimming limbs on my side of the fence and probably going to try some zoysia before giving up. That's all you can do. I mean, it's their tree. You can cut back your part of it, but I mean, yeah. I mean, it's tough, No Name. You can't, like, Bermuda does not like shade. Like, before the fence went in, when the new neighbors moved in, and you guys remember there were like 3 shrubs there, and they weren't even very big shrubs. They were probably, I don't know, 2 feet across, 2.5 feet across, and 5 feet high. Just the shade from those shrubs was enough to cause the Bermuda to thin out in that area. And this was in the height of summer. Like, the grass never looked really good in that part of the lawn compared to the other areas, just from the little bit of shade that these small shrubs were causing. So a tree, obviously you have practically no chance, but it's an uphill battle. It's definitely an uphill battle as far as that goes. So maybe try zoysia, see how it works, and there you go. And then Scott is giving his thoughts on negate. He says, what is he saying here? So, because I misread the label about mixing the entire bottle, I confirm 1 gram of dry mix per 1,000 square feet will kill POA in Bermuda, which is the label rate of 1.5, the dry mix acre rate. Yeah. So the thing, and I agree with you, Scott. There are people that do that. The thing is, from what I understand, there's 2 granules or 2 different active ingredients in the negate bottle. Because I call the manufacturer and ask them about this. And granted, it's in their best interest to one. They're not going to tell me the label's wrong. They're not going to do that. But they explained it that you don't know that you're really applying the product properly. You could be applying more of one ingredient and less of another if you don't mix the entire thing. So I get that it can work, but according to the label, you should be mixing the whole thing. But yeah, I see what you're saying. You're not the only one that says that process, what you're saying, will work with negate. We are running down on questions. So we got here, Jeffrey Robinson says, T-Nex or Primo for PGR? I'm late to live tonight. Sorry if this was already asked. It was asked like 17 times, Jeffrey. Now you're asking like the 18th time. I'm just kidding. No, as far as whether you go with Primo or T-Nex, depends on how much of the product you want. Like, if you want to just get your feet wet and you're getting into it, then Primo Max, because you can get this in 4 ounces. So this is enough for most lawns, most average size lawns, for an entire season. If you are going, you have a larger property, or you're spraying a bunch of lawns, then getting a larger size, like a gallon container, is better. But for most people, one of the biggest issues they don't like about T-Nex is that you buy it, and for most home lawns, like a gallon is like a 10-year supply of the stuff, right? Like, you're never gonna use it all up. Like, you'll spill it or something bad's gonna happen to it before you use it. So for like a season-long coverage, something like this will work well. So it really depends on you, how much you have to cover, and how often you plan to use it, on which way you want to go. Is for smaller amounts, the Primo Max is a great option. If you decide to go that route, then I will give you a link to where you can pick that up in the 4 rounds, because it shows this link has both of them. It has the big one and the small one. The small one is obviously a big price difference between the two of them, but I'll put that in the chat here for you at Jeffrey. They both have the same active ingredient as Trinexapac ethyl. I had to look and see if the amount of active ingredient is the same, but it's the same active ingredient in both products. So there you go. Go with the small one if you're just getting into it and want to get your feet wet. Grasshopper Lawn Care in Georgia is in the house. He says, better late than never. Hello, Ron. Hello. You're right. Better late than never. Definitely. And then Jeffrey Graveson Flowers is saying podium is another saying that's another thing that's also cheaper. And then Think Money says triple 12. That's right. I made a mistake. Yeah, no worries, Think Money. No worries about that. Yeah, it's the one I was showing you. That's the starter for it that's on the store. But yeah, that's a good option for a starter fert. Next up, we got Kartik Kamath says, hello, folks. Wishing all a strong 2022 season. I will drink to that. I will drink to that for sure. Yep. And then next, a question about soil testing from Braden Rubin. Braden says, just got my soil test results back and everything is low. Should I focus on just getting the soil where it needs to be, or can I top dress and oversee the season also? Can you seed if you put I think you're asking, can you seed if you put pre-emergent down? I didn't see the rest of it. It got cut off. Okay, so we'll work backwards. No, you shouldn't. If your goal is to seed a lawn like you're doing in renovation, you should not apply pre-emergent if your goal is to seed the lawn, because you're working against yourself. As far as you said, you get your soil test results back and everything is low. When you say everything, does that include pH too? If so, I mean, here's the thing. You're not going to correct everything all at once. Like NPK, you can correct sooner. They'll correct faster. Like if you add, a balanced fertilizer like a triple 12 or something, or whatever, just a good dose of NPK, like the soil is going to respond to that faster than like say pH adjustments. So I would just take your soil test results and just begin working the program. If your pH is low, get a lime app down, depending on whether you need a dolomitic or calcitic lime. Look at your magnesium levels. And if your magnesium is low, go with the dolomitic. If your magnesium levels are fine, go with a calcitic. If you said everything is low, it sounds like it is, including magnesium, then in that case, a dolomitic lime is what you're going to want to use to start moving the pH to a better spot. And just work a program. You know what the deficiencies are. You're not going to fix it all overnight, and that's fine. You're not supposed to fix everything overnight. You have the idea behind soil testing is to get the data to make intelligent decisions around inputs into your lawn. It's not like a pass or fail thing. It just is what it is. It's like if you went to a doctor and you got a checkup and they said, hey, Ron, your cholesterol is really high. I could go out and run a marathon tomorrow and eat only grass for the next week, and my cholesterol is not going to drop all in a week's time frame. It's going to take time. It's going to take time to bring it down. The same thing with your soil. It's a moving thing over. It's a moving, all those levels move and change over time. The thing with knowing what your levels are now, you just know what you should be applying to help bring things to the best possible result for your particular soil. So hopefully that helps, Braden. Don't look at it as like a pass or fail thing and I got to fix it all at once, because it's kind of impossible to do that. All right. Let's see. Corey Binion says, ionic surfactant versus non-ionic surfactant when applying herbicide and insecticides. The label will say, Corey, but I've always used non-ionic surfactants. I've never used ionic surfactants. And all the labels I've ever read always specify a non-ionic surfactant. So check the label, see what the label says based on the product you're applying, and do what the label says. That would be my answer to that. I think we have a super chat here. Let me go down here and grab that real quick before I get too far down. I don't want to miss your nightmare. Thank you so much, your nightmare.
Super chat received.
He says, thanks again. You are replaceable. Good night. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, your nightmare. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the support. Luis saying, how are you? You're very, very, I'm doing well, Luis. I'm doing well. And then next, your nightmare says, last year, I planted Bermuda in 2 of my 3 lawns. I learned so much from your videos last year, and my success can be credited to you. Well, your success is credited to you actually doing stuff, but I appreciate that. That's very, very kind. He says, thank you for the information you freely share with us. No problem at all. I'm just sharing the stuff that I've learned, and I have learned from other people in industry that have been kind enough to share their knowledge with me, and I'm just passing it on to you guys. So I'm glad that you got a really good result with your Bermuda, your planting, your seeding project on a couple of your lawns this over the past couple of seasons. Keep it up. Just keep doing your thing, man. It's pretty awesome. All right, R Reed is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I'm here in Douglas, Georgia, and I have Bahia grass." That is odd. Bahia grass is more like a Florida thing. You don't see Bahia so much in Georgia. He says, "I'm here and I have Bahia grass in my Bermuda." Okay. Any suggestions on what I could use to get rid of it, and when would be the best time to apply? I wonder if Chloroc will kill Bahia. Bahia is a little bit more. It's a warm season grass, but we, in the warm season world, we claim it. We don't really claim it. It's like one of those. It's like your weird uncle or cousin, that he's family, but he's got some issues. I want to say that it will. What else will kill Bahia? I think Celsius. Celsius will. You're not supposed to spray it on Bahia grass. I don't know if Chloroc will also do it as well too. I'm trying to save you some money. Yeah. So, but Chloroc is an option. R Reed or Celsius as well is an option. Because I know when I was doing the video last year when I was researching this, Celsius they say you can apply it to all warm season grasses. Do not put it on Bahia grass. So it depends on which way you want to go. Of the two, Celsius is less likely to ding your Bermuda. So of the two, if you want a gentler option, Celsius is the one that I would go with. As far as time to apply it, when the grass is actively growing. So right now, it's probably not the best time. Wait till say April-ish. By then, the Bermuda will be should be, for the most part, greened up. The Bahia is also going to be growing well. And any herbicide that you put down and you apply to it is going to, the uptake is going to be better. You're going to get a result faster. So Celsius is what I would go with. And you can get that. I can actually show you here. We carry that on the golf course lawn store. So if you go back scroll back out. If you come here and scroll up, you go to Golf Course Lawn Store, you go to Shop, and you go down to Weed Killer. And the top row is Celsius. This is safe for Bermuda. It is not safe for Bahia grass. That is the one warm season grass that they say do not spray this on because it will kill it. It is very, very safe for Bermuda. As far as a great herbicide that has very broad coverage, that is one of the more gentler options for Bermuda grass, Celsius is one of the better ones to go with, and the price reflects that, unfortunately. But this is what I would use to not have any chance of very reduced chance of damaging your Bermuda grass lawn while also getting rid of the Bahia. You are going to want to use a non-ionic surfactant with it. The label will say that. Just read the label. You can pick one of those up. I'll give you a link for that as well if you want. But yeah, use a surfactant with it. Have a good spray tip like the T-Jet, the 110 degree T-Jet. Get this off here. That's going to help you get good coverage as far as all over the grass blades, all over the leaf, and yeah, you should be good to go. That is what I would use to get rid of it. As far as something that's going to be effective against Bahia, but also not going to damage your Bermuda. That's what I would go with. And again, we have that at the Golf Course Lawn Store. So if you have any questions, let me know. Once you decide to do it, let me know how it works out. I think you will like the results that you get. And again, use a surfactant with it. And if you're looking for one, let me just make sure I'm giving you the complete options. Go to the store to get Celsius, and then for a surfactant, I think I have a link for one of those. Let's see here, because I use the high yield, and I do. So R Reed, here you go. So get Celsius, and then mix this with it. So at R, are you still here? R.Reed. Yep. Right there. And that is the surfactant that you want to use along with Celsius to get the best result. Okay, he says, JD Holloway says, Ron, what is your dream job? I'm living my dream job in many ways, man. It's funny. When I was younger, I always said that I wanted to wake up one day, every day, and be able to get up, walk downstairs, or walk out of my bedroom and have computer screens in front of me and be able to work. I always wanted to do information security. So I wanted to be a hacker or someone that broke into networks for a living. I did that for, 6-7 years. And before I transitioned to more the defensive side. And yeah, so and I still love what I do now. So now I'm more on the defensive side, which is more stressful because being a bad guy, like breaking into things, is much easier than defending things because they typically have better budgets and they're not limited really by time. But it's fun. I love what I do for work. It is stressful. There's a stress that goes along with it, but I like what I do. I love what I do for work. And I love grass. I like grass, like this. Everything you're seeing now, this was just something I used to do just for fun. It's like my Zen thing, just to go out and cut my grass and sit back and look at the lawn, and it looks really nice. It's kind of like martial arts in that you always work on a lawn, and it's never perfect. Like you like kind of like doing a form. You go through and you practice a form over and over and over and over and over again. And every now and then, if you're really, really lucky, when in a competition, it can all come together where you don't make too many mistakes and you can score well. Grass is kind of the same way in that there's always something changing, and it's a pursuit of something that you can never really catch. So that's what I like about it. And that's what's fun. But I have my dream job. Like, and I work in an industry that does work that I think matters. And with a live stream, even in my free time, I get to help people out get their lawns better, right? So it's cool. I'm living the dream. Cannot complain. Cannot complain. I think if I only did grass, it would become like a job, and I may not like it as much. If I only did InfoSec and didn't do anything else, I don't know. InfoSec, I do love InfoSec quite a bit, so it'd be hard to say. But I like where things are now. I mean, I work entirely too much, but I like what I do. Okay, next is Luis Rodriguez. He says, excited to start the season and got my groove roller. Look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants. Got my groove roller from Real Rollers and can't wait to get that bad boy on the lawn. Groove rollers are pretty awesome. Here's the thing. I had a smooth roller on my True Cut, and I thought, okay, how much of a difference could it really make, right? So I ran the True Cut with a smooth roller for a number of years. And, the guys at Real Rollers hooked me up with a grooved roller, and you will notice a difference. It is nice. It does make a difference in how clean of a cut you get. Now, here's the thing. It's not like Greensmaster good, but it is better than a smooth roller. It is better than a smooth roller. So I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, Luis, once you get that on there and start cutting with it. It is nice. One thing I would say, piece of advice, go up one notch. I don't know what kind of mower you have, but go up one notch on the height of cut, because with the groove roller, the mower is going to sit a little bit lower, just to make sure you don't scalp or do anything you don't want to do. Just start a little bit, just one notch higher, and then you can adjust it as you see fit. But yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Let's see. And then Luis Rodriguez says, do you know of a liquid fert with just potassium? There are a few. I don't carry any on the store, but I can look and see about one, Luis. If you don't mind, send me an email here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll look one up and I'll get it to you. I'll send you, tell you where you can pick one up. I don't carry any of it because it's kind of a specialized product. And most homeowners, most home lawns just wouldn't really use it. But if you really want to find that, I'll dig one up for you, and I'll get you a link to where you can go pick one up. But just email me, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Okay, and let's see. John Gotch says, I just want to let you know that I mailed my soil test and waiting for the results. Good job, John. It shouldn't take too long. Normally, again, I'm in Georgia, and MySoil is in Seattle. I think Washington somewhere. So they're like diagonally, they're pretty far from me. The only thing could be worse if I were in Florida. And I have yet to send out soil test results and not have the results pop into my portal within a week. So normally 7 days or less is when they show up. So you shouldn't have to wait too long to get your results. All right, Demir is giving Braden some advice as far as getting your lawn in order. He's saying, Braden Rude, do it all. He's like, fix it all, or go after it all. He says, depending on what your soil test says, get a fert that covers all your bases. Follow these steps: verticut, dethatch, aerate, overseed, apply the ferts, amendments, pre-emergent, water in. So there you go. That's Demir's recipe for how you can approach things. There we go. Okay. Oh, and Jerry Sobel. Jerry's going on, man. So Jerry's a viewer on last year out of Arizona, and he says you cannot go lower. You cannot go below 3/4 of an inch with a McLean unless you have the greens mower. So there you go. I don't need to ask the guys at Real Rollers. Jerry hath answered the question. So I guess that's the limit of McLean, 3/4 of an inch. Who would have thunk it? So that's one feather. I'm not hating on the McLean, by the way. Don't send me hate mail. But that's one feather in the cap for the True Cut, because you can definitely go below 3/4 of an inch with a True Cut. So that's something to keep in mind. And Jerry's like, I know I had one. And you notice he said he had one. So I guess he sold it or got rid of it or whatnot. So thank you for that, Jerry. I really appreciate it. Glad to know you're doing well, sir. And we definitely got to stay in touch for this season to see how your lawn is doing. Get everything worked out. So great stuff. Always good to see like the viewers from last year are starting to come back in again. Okay, Ricky A says, I'm in Central California. I have a California trimmer. How low should I scalp my grass? Is it as the lowest setting that my California trimmer goes? It depends on you, Ricky. So here's the thing. There are people that scalp, and like if you ask the guys at Real Rollers as far as scalping, they're going to say just above dirt. They'll say take it down low, right? It's good. That's good. That's good advice. And your lawn is going to green up faster if you do that. The only negative to it is that it's a lot of work. You're going to have a whole lot more material that's going to come out of the lawn. So depending on what your height of cut is now, you might want to do it in phases. You might want to break it up in a couple of sessions. And the least amount of work that's going to help the result, that's going to give you a good result, is just under the height of cut that you intend to maintain the lawn at. So let's say you want to maintain the lawn at an inch. And there's a setting on the California trimmer for say 3/4 of an inch or half an inch. Like going into 3/4 of an inch, that's a 1/4 inch lower than the height of cut that you intend to maintain the lawn at. So that's a kind of a happy medium versus taking it all the way down to 0.2, like really, really low. That's going to get you a sooner green up. It's not going to have all the benefits or be as good as if you really did a good cleanup by going low. But it really depends on you. You're not going to hurt the grass. You need to say what kind of grass you have. I'm assuming it's Bermuda, but you're not going to hurt the Bermuda by taking it down low, down to the lowest setting of your California trimmer. Again, assuming that setting isn't causing like the bed knife to dig into the dirt where you're not like cutting dirt. Like don't do that. But as low as you can go, that's above getting into dirt. If you have the time and the fortitude to get that much material out of your lawn and you want to go for it, by all means, go for it. You know what I mean? But if you go just a little bit below your height of cut, you're going to get a lot of the benefits of scalping just from doing that with a lot less of the work. So just something to keep in mind. And I don't know how low your trimmer nose goes because I don't have one of them to be able to tell you. Okay, John Finley is here. He says, I got my eye on Carbon Pro G and soil conditioner for my new sod Tiff Tuff. Nice. Sod was laid in September. Should I wait till the growing season or should I just throw it down after spring scalp late March? Tennessee, you should throw it down. As soon as you're done scalping, go ahead and throw it down. You can throw it down before scalping, but the one thing you could say is, if you were gonna scalp, you're not gonna do it till late March. Yeah, you can do it now because by late March it'll be worked down in the soil. It'll be in there anyway. So if you want to do it now, you can. If you told me that you were going to scalp, if you're going to put down like Carbon Pro G or Essential G, whatever you decide to go with this week, and you were going to scalp like, I don't know, 3-4 days from now or next weekend, I might say, wait, let's do it the other way around. Let's do the scalp and then put down your carbon product. But if it's a month out, it's your choice. You can wait till after the scalp to apply it, or you can do it now. Wait for the month to go by and then scalp, and you're going to be just fine. So either way will work based on what you are telling me, because late March is like a month from now. So either way, John, either way, you're going to get a good result. All right. Demir says, well said, Ron. I spoke at the golf industry show about leadership. Use the platinum rule instead of the golden rule. Treat people how they want to be treated. Growing grass is the easy part. That's true. It is just grass. I mean, I that's why I tell you guys, grass was here before any of us were here, and it will probably still be here long after we're gone. So yes, all the things we do can make it grow better and can make it look, make us have the best looking lawn on the block, but it's grass. It's not gonna, Mother Nature had it figured out before we were here, and yes, we can enhance it, but it's not like, we are not as important as we would like to think we are to having, to making the plant grow. So yeah, I agree with you, Demir. And yes, and also the advice, which is don't be a jerk in life. It's always good advice. You're just happier. Like, I mean, if you're just mean, think about it. If you're seeing a person that's always mean, like they're not happy. Like, it's just like, like being mean all the time is like you drinking poison. Well, how's the saying go? Being mean all the time or always wishing bad on other people is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's what it's like. It makes no sense. And it takes a ton of effort on your part. And I don't understand it. That's why I find like my haters to be funny, because it's like, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time when you could be out just trying to be better, right? But I guess such is life. Scott R says, thanks, Ron. Enjoyed it. Enjoy life. Have a great weekend. And thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate you chiming in as always. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. You're very, very welcome, Jeffrey, as well. Thank you for hanging out. And the Phantom, a new viewer, says, hey, I just found your channel and I'm looking into making my own green in the yard. Be careful what you wish for, sir. I mean, but yes, as far as like the right place, you found the right place. As far as getting the golf course grass at home, that is that is my motto. That's what we're trying to do. Like literally on the store, that's what we do. The whole idea behind the products and the Golf Course Lawn Academy is to help people to get golf course grass at home. That's to get that look, to get a fairway look of a golf course fairway in your home lawn. It's a ton of work. I mean, there's a lot of products and training that goes along with it and a lot that goes into it, but it's a lot of consistency and hard work, Phantom. So you are in the right place. And let me know if I can help with anything as you go through things. All right. And again, if you just found the channel, hopefully subscribe. If you haven't subscribe because I need the support, right? And if I can help with anything, let me know. And then Braden says, no, everything was low. pH was 7.4. Okay, so your pH is on the high side. It's on the high side of the Goldilocks zone. Here's the thing, Braden. You could, try and use like a sulfate or a citric acid to try and bring it down. But here's the thing. If all of your nutrient levels are low, fertilizers tend to have salts in them, which has a lowering effect of pH over time. So you can go after, applying like an elemental sulfate or citric acid to try and bring that down a little bit if you want. Or you could just start fertilizing the lawn, start feeding it based on the soil test results and see where you land. You might be surprised of how much the soil just kind of finds its nice equilibrium once you're feeding it, a good balance of nutrients. So there you go. And A. Reed says, awesome, man. Thank you. You're very welcome. And then we have someone else chiming in. Nemo Down also says MSM turf is good for knocking out Bahia. So that's also an option as well. That is going to be a bit harder on your lawn than Bermuda. That's a big than Celsius. That's why a big reason why I chose. I talk about Celsius so much. Like are there other post-emergent herbicides that you can use that are very effective against like a ton of weeds? Yes, like Dismiss is really good. Speed Zone are very good. Is also very good. But the thing with Celsius is, one, as far as temperature restrictions, like you can spray it when temps are high. Like there's not really temperature restrictions with Celsius. And it's also gentle on Bermuda. So as far as like a lot of these other products, if you spray them on Bermuda, yes, they will work. Yes, they will target the plants you're after. But you will see, in most cases, a bit of yellowing, a slight bit of yellowing. It's not going to kill the Bermuda, but it's not going to maintain its color like lawns that are sprayed with Celsius will. That's why, partly why it's more expensive. It covers a lot of stuff, and you can spray it at higher temps, and it kills the stuff you want to kill and doesn't kill your grass. So that's why I recommend that one and suggest that one to people. It's just a really good product in general. Ricky A says, for new lawns, mine's a little bunny working on leveling it. Would you recommend a grooved roller or a smooth roller? Okay, so talking to the guys at Real Rollers, I'm going to give you the Real Rollers answer. They say that you should start out with a smooth roller and then graduate to a grooved roller. And there's definitely some truth to that. There's some benefits to that. The thing with a grooved roller, it's easier to maneuver the mower, like as far as turning and that kind of thing. A smooth roller is easier. And whenever you're starting to really take it down lower, like you're cutting 3/4 of an inch or lower, a grooved roller is really a big advantage, right? It's just you're going to get a better cut with a grooved roller versus a smooth roller. I mean, you look at golf courses, they don't use smooth rollers on any of their mowers. They use grooved rollers on everything, right? So it's your call. If you know that you're going to be cutting at 3/4 of an inch or lower, or that's just the height you're going to be. You're not trying to cut the lawn at like 1.5 inches. You're trying to really go relatively low with your reel mowing. A grooved roller is a great choice. In other words, if I knew then what I know now, and if I were buying a true cut, I would put a grooved roller on it. Because based on what I know now, basically on the difference I see in the quality of cut. But there are pros and cons to both. So either one is going to work well. Getting a roller is the most important thing. I like grooved rollers more so than smooth rollers, but my lawn is also further along than a lot of people's lawns. So that's the thing to consider too. So either way is going to work well, Ricky. When you're just starting out, you're kind of splitting hairs. It's not going to really matter that much. Good question. All right. No Name says, any thoughts on using a lawn roller or something to push down spots where there's a significant amount of mold activity? You can. I mean, it's if you want to try and smooth out certain areas of your lawn with that, you can. What I have done is just if you have a greensmaster, like one of the greens mowers, those mowers are pretty heavy. You can use it as a makeshift roller. Just simply disengage the reel and just roll. You can use it actually to roll the lawn if that's what you're after. I'm not a huge fan of putting heavy rollers on residential lawns because, like golf greens, it makes sense, right? Because they do that because they want it, it's a playing surface and they want it to be smooth. The idea is that they want a golf ball to roll smoothly on it. And with golf greens, they aerate all the time and they do things to relieve compaction. So unless on a home lawn, most people aren't aerating on the schedule that golf courses are, and they're not doing the things that golf courses are. So if you want to do it as a one-off type of thing, fine. But for me, I would not want to do something that's creating compaction in your lawn, because you're not doing all the stuff that golf courses do to relieve that compaction. You see what I'm saying? So it's fine as like a one-off thing. If you want to smooth things out and get rid of some of the high spots, that's fine. But I wouldn't do it, make it like every 2 weeks or a monthly thing. I wouldn't do that, because you're kind of working against yourself on a residential lawn, again, unless you're doing all the other stuff like core aerating monthly, the kind of things you need to do to help to kind of offset it being rolled all the time. Good question. You're very, very welcome, Ricky. And the Phantom says, thanks for the help. New subscriber here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Also, for you to maintaining a nice looking yard. It'll get better, Phantom. Just give it time. You know what I mean? It's a process. Don't be in a huge rush to make everything perfect right away. If you want to see a cool series, like you can make a huge difference in a lawn in just 3 months. Alex's lawn, if you look at the Fix My Ugly Lawn series, I think I've got it here somewhere. Yes, I do. The Fix My Ugly Lawn series. This will take you to a playlist that shows you like what we did. Like pretty much when I learned everything, when I said, you know what, Ron, I think you know a little bit about like getting a good lawn. And I said, you know what, this is a great way to test this out. Let's see how well you really do know what you think you know. And it was my neighbor Alex came along for the ride. He's like, yeah, man, let's do this. So literally we followed through the entire program, and in 3 months, his lawn went from like a normal looking lawn to like a golf course lawn, literally within 3 months. And if you want to see that process, you can take a look at this playlist, which I will post in the chat now. Since we are about at time, it'll be a good thing to send you off. We'll give you some bedside material to watch, and it will give you, if anything, it'll be some inspiration to let you know what is possible with a lot of consistent effort, a lot of mowing, and just taking your time and enjoying the process. So here you go, the Phantom. That link will take you to the playlist on YouTube that has all the videos in it. So hopefully that helps. Well, guys, gals, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. It was a great live stream. We got tons of questions. We went a little long tonight, but I think you guys enjoyed it. Again, also make sure you take advantage of the discount code for the MySoil test kits. The discount code is STARTSPRINGRIGHT all together. STARTSPRINGRIGHT at checkout at the Golf Course Lawn Store. That will save you 10% off of anything from MySoil in the Golf Course Lawn Store. So the individual kits, the kits with the soil probe, the pro packs, all of them are it'll save you some money on through only for a couple of weeks. So take advantage of that. Also, if you are planning on top dressing your lawn, you want to use a premium leveling mix. The option from Super Sod, if you're in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, there's a discount that they're running until the 28th, till the end of this month, that will save you $30 on a bag. You can schedule your delivery a little bit in the future, but you want to get it and pay for it now, so you save yourself some money on getting your top dressings. I'll put that in the chat as well. And I think that is all, guys. Again, Headway G is Celiprin, and now Caravan G are on the Golf Course Lawn Store, so check that out as well. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. If you like the content, feel free to share it. If you've bought anything from the Golf Course Lawn Store and you like the product, leave me a review. It really helps me out. Write a review. All the products have the ability for you guys to write a review. Write a review is a great way to support everything I'm doing, and it really does help if you guys do that. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Get out there.